Man,
Boom, 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 boom,
and it's
boom,
always
boom,
jarring when we split from the countdown of the nice, beautiful, relaxing countdown music to the
boom.
boom, 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 boom. It's always a bit bizarre, but g'day, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Welcome to the first Thursday evening drive home stream. It's your boy Joe and Big J as well. How we doing, mate?
Mate, I am happy to be here. It feels weird. Like, I say it's to work all the time, but it's like it could be December. Supercoach has just opened, and hey, 3 months later, round zero. So, it's pretty crazy at the moment.
Absolutely. Look, it's going to be a delayed, sort of staggered round zero. It's not quite as anticipated, what with the hurricane. So before we start, we do have to, of course, give out our thoughts and prayers and good wishes to all of the people up in Brisbane and Gold Coast, up in Queensland, who may be hurricane, cyclone affected. Yeah. Charles, a personal one to you, Charles. So thoughts and prayers with you, mate, that you stay safe at this time and that it's hopefully does not impact you at all. Everyone's safety is our most paramount consideration. So thoughts and prayers with you, Charles, at this time, and all your loved ones, if you have any up there, mate.
Yeah, I have some family up near Byron Bay. So, yeah, it's a bit of a hairy one for them at the moment as well. Stay safe, everybody, is probably just
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Yeah, all the stay safes, absolutely. All the best wishes to you. Captain Flash, good to see you. Michael, good to see you too, mate. And Frankie's in, good to see you, Frankie.
What's up, Frankie?
Lukey, g'day, Lukey, good to see you, man. We need Lukey on the channel again soon.
Hey, 100%. Just thinking about team reviews and stuff as well, Joe. It's basically this time next week, just kind of checking out the fixture. Is there a third? Okay, so this time next week, we are almost in Supercoach completed. Hey, round zero teams are done. Round one teams ready to go. And we've got to do a team review, mate.
Yes. We'll absolutely have to do a team review. Vela, good to see you, my friend, as always. Rookie coach, welcome aboard. A wonderful Monday, a wonderful debut on Monday. Hopefully the first of many episodes, and it will be an absolute cracker, mate. Thanks so much. Praise Fitz. G'day, mate. How's it going? Shawnee Baker. Shorty. Yaron. Oh, Yaron. You've changed your profile pic, man. What's this?
Yep.
That's still XRP, but what is that behind? Is that like a phoenix or something? Very cool. I like it. Round 24, Gold Coast versus Port Adelaide and Essendon versus Carlton. And as expected, Brisbane versus Geelong in round 3. Yeah, so interesting developments happening over there with the new fixture. Let me just pull up the article. Might be easier. So this was as of 2 hours ago. Yes, it is definitely an interesting one. So they made the right decision, of course, at the end of the day to postpone it. Why it took them so long is absolutely ridiculous. I know that there is, a TV rights bargaining, collective agreement, jazz, money, right? There's money. I get it. There's money on the line. But seriously, the fact that you had to wait so long before common sense prevailed to postpone it just screams volumes. But at least the correct decision has been made, and the Lions will be facing Geelong at the Gabba on Thursday night. They were supposed to, but they'll now face them on Saturday of round 3. So that's going to be the first change, which obviously is big news for our Brisbane and Geelong players, for our Supercoach teams, because it means they no longer have the bye in round 3. It means they actually play, which is massive.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, opens up a few more teams. As who was it here? Captain Flash, Lockie Neal back into calculations again. So, yeah, Lockie Neal, Tom Stewart, Bailey Smith maybe doesn't have as many negatives against his name compared to a few others at the moment. So, yeah, as Corey says here, best 18 round 3 will be a lot easier, Joe.
Good to see you, Causa. Yes, it will be much easier because we're going to have some extra premiums, perhaps, if you can, some keepers, if you consider the likes of Baz a keeper for the year. If he's going 90 plus, that's a top 6 forward there. So that's obviously really impressive, really important. Yes, Rising. I get that now. But then we're moving down to the part where we talk about the Bombers.
I have a feeling in Supercoach land, they're just going to say that last game between the Essendon and Gold Coast just won't count for Supercoach points. That's what, and then everyone's played 23. Like, I have a feeling that's just going to happen.
Yeah, look, Fantasy, pretty sure Fantasy have come out and said that it's not going to count, right?
I'm not sure. I don't think so yet.
I think I saw a tweet. I saw a tweet somewhere that Fantasy have confirmed that the game against Gold Coast will not count.
Well, there you go. That's what I said then. Hey, that works out fine.
Yeah. I think I've seen a tweet about that. Here we are, AFL Fantasy. If I pull that up here. So the Brisbane Geelong game now included in round 3. This is AFL Fantasy. And the Gold Coast Bombers game will not count. Now, it could very well end up just being, as you say, that Supercoach just follows what Fantasy does.
You would think so.
But only time will tell. So you don't really want to start, I don't think, any Gold Coast Sun or Essendon premiums, because what that means now is that those premiums, not only do they have a bye, but they also are playing one less game for you, which will not count against each other. So I think what this means is if you were considering starting, a Zach Merritt, probably don't do so. If you were considering starting, a Matt Rowell, I think or a Noah Anderson. I think that might just deter you away and sort of just focus on upgrading to them, in my opinion.
Yep. Yeah, I think so. That's right. Zach Merritt was never a must-have start for me anyway at the moment. So, yeah.
But for people who want a pod, he might have been considered as one. So if any league codes, so our league code. Where do I find this? Thank you.
There you go. League code 297914 Craig's Fit. Now, this year, I don't think we're going to end up doing head-to-head leagues, but that's okay. Just stay in there for the normal league. We've got enough prizes and whatnot with that at the moment. So, yeah.
Okay, Michael, good to see you. Ghost is in. G'day, Ghost. Good to see you, mate. Came for the review crew, but glad my favorite Thursday stream. Oh, cheers, rookie code. Much love, mate. Reckon Supercoach scores my account. Yeah, or for all of it? All of the Supercoach scores might not count?
Surely not. Surely they would just say the double up game doesn't count. Like, just have them as the first one of the double up game and not the second one. Like, they still score Supercoach points as normal, but like you only get 1 point for that week. Or if you really want to be tricky, they might say the double up and then it's the average of the 2 games, Joe.
No, I don't see them doing that. I don't think they're going to do that. If they do that, then it'll be the first of its kind. Yeah, but there's a long way to go there. Whereabouts are we? Carl. Okay, Carl. What have they done to the fabric of our great game, boys? Is there any way back from here? What have they done? Look, what they've done is they've tried to expand the reach. They know they're really struggling to break in to those northern suburbs where it's very much rugby league or rugby union. I must confess, I don't know the difference, but they are trying to break into that market, but at the expense of the wider fan base, I feel. So look, is it trying to cater to the minority? Well, look, people will say that that's a Vic bias right there, and every week is a gathering of football here in Victoria. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's a bit too risky at this time of year to be playing games up north in the summertime, with all of the hurricanes that could potentially happen, of course. So, look, it might be different. It might be, playing it in New South Wales, might be playing it in Perth for a bit. But the problem with Perth is that it is a football state. And clearly, AFL is all about trying to expand itself and trying to make more money. And that's why it took so long for this game to be cancelled, because it's all about the money. It's all about the money bags. How can we build our pocket, our purse? So it sucks. It's tough, but more money does mean that there is more opportunity for the game to potentially increase list sizes. Could increase.
It's we said it before on Twitter, right, Joe? It's more just I think it's the state government has to cancel the game, so they can end up having things like fixture rights and money and all that kind of stuff. Versus if the AFL came out, it'd end up costing them a lot more money, I think, than what it currently has. Like when you go and you go and cancel your flights versus your flights are cancelled by the by the flight company, that kind of thing.
Yeah, so look, they clearly want to expand and try and make more money out of it, and more money also therefore means potentially better review equipment. Could potentially implement some better cameras. Like you look at the way the Super Bowl is played, and you look at the slow mo footage, and the way it's so crisp and not jittery in 4K. More money can improve the state of the game, but it shouldn't really be the be all and end all. Ultimately, it should be all about the fan experience and people. A lot of people have some strong opinions about it. I mean, look, Double Dummy here, it's a disgrace, and it was last year. I don't hate Gather Round. I despise the Round Zero concept. Like Round Zero in particular, definitely has rubbed off a lot of people in a bad way. Gather Round, a lot of people getting behind it. It's causing a lot of people to go to Adelaide and improve the state economy there as well. So there is a net benefit to having Gather Round, but Round Zero as a concept certainly is scoffed at for sure.
What if they had it as something similar to the NRL, where they actually went to like overseas and then played? Instead of having the China game halfway through the season, they ended up having like the UK game. Like at the start of the season, have like 4 teams go over there, or 6 teams or something, go somewhere overseas and play, and then doesn't really affect throughout the season, but it does mean kind of the double bye thing at the moment.
I'm not entirely sure what they do, to be honest. I don't know anything about what any other sporting codes does. But I did see that there was a new round being implemented that the AFL are floating.
Yep.
The idea of what's it called? It's called the
multicultural
round,
I think.
The multicultural round, the cultural heritage series. What I find interesting is that not every team, I think, is included in this series. Like, you know what I mean? There are a few teams not included. Not all teams worthy enough to celebrate cultural heritage.
No, Essendon's got no heritage. They're just not playing.
Like just an example. You know what I mean? Just for one. Like, I don't quite get what the point is. 9 clubs. Only 9 clubs are going to celebrate the rich and diverse cultural heritage of the game. Like, I don't know. Like, it just seems bizarre. Has Andrew Dillon done anything right ever since coming into office? Like, it's just gets weirder and weirder.
Yeah,
only half the competition has culture.
I didn't like the fact that they seemed to drop this like 2 days before Round Zero as well. Like, it wasn't something that had been talked about throughout the season or pre-season. It was like, yep, cool, we're changing the stuff, and then we're doing cultural round, and it's like, oh, thanks. But hopefully they at least change not Maddie's match, Frawley's, what do they call it? Frawley's match. They make that like men's. Yeah, they make it like Spud's game. Keep it as that one, but then make that at least men's mental health round. Do something that's a little bit different as well. They're adding all these other stuff. We can add something else to the game.
Yeah, like it has who has asked for this?
Yeah, well, it's what Flash is saying here. The newest team, GWS, has four games.
All of the culture, all of the heritage in the newest team. Seriously, like it makes no one asked for this, but you can certainly say, as you say, Big J, men's health, mental health.
Yeah, it's important.
That's the one that's probably got the biggest call in recent times.
Yep.
No one's really asking for GWS to celebrate culture. I just don't understand where the AFL is getting its PR tips from, but it's just confusing the fan base, and it's like no one's asking for this. I don't get it personally. The whole thing is just another dill pickle. Yeah, exactly. That's basically what that is, Ralphie. Another dill pickle. Let's see. Some people have got some ghosts. They should do a state of origin before round 1 and then do all the big games round 1 would be way better. I mean, state of origin is a type of game that everyone would love to see, a state of origin game. You know what I mean? But they don't give us that. They want to give us cultural heritage series where only half the competition will do that. Like, it's just, why? Can't wait to see these multicultural games, what they do. It will just cause more question marks.
Are they doing different cultures for each, or are they all indigenous cultures, or what are they doing? Is there any is there anything there?
Well, I don't think there is. I don't think it's necessarily for.
I like that top comment there. Are we considering Easter round for Christianity? Good old Michael. Probably not Michael, unfortunately.
Yeah. I don't think this is indigenous. I think if it's indigenous, it would be part of the.
What are they going to do? Like, are they going to do a different culture each time? Are they just saying there's non-Australian cultures in the game? Like, what are they? I don't think it's very well thought out.
Yeah, no, it's clearly not. It's clearly not well thought out at all. It clearly seems to be an absolute throwaway. I don't know, trying to get some brownie points. I don't really know personally. It's sport, not a social driver. Some rounds make sense, but they try too hard. Look, raising awareness for things is certainly something that the game, given its wide reach and the fact that so many youths as well as adults watch the game, there's certainly space for important messages to be brought out. And I think a mental health round, given all of the suicides that we've seen, unfortunately, in the last, becoming more and more prevalent, I think some things like it's just missing the mark. And I'm not sure if identity politics necessarily is exactly what the AFL should be trying to push at this point in time, as opposed to other causes and good causes that are certainly relevant today. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
The
AFL's always been funny like that, I suppose.
I think opening round is more hated by the VIX and others. The AFL clearly going to continue pushing the northern states because of the huge market there. Are they getting it right? Not quite. Yeah, clearly they aren't getting it right. And I just don't know how having a game, like, how is opening round necessarily going to cause these northern supporters to be like, yeah, I like football now. Like, forget
rugby.
Exactly. Let me forget rugby and watch football when the rugby is already on at that point in time. Like, if you're going to really give them an opportunity to watch, it should be when the rugby isn't there. But this opening round coincides with rugby being on. Why would those very supporters that are watching rugby decide to turn it off and watch the football when they got their team playing right then and there? Unless you're going to go out there and pay them please give us a try. They're not going to switch the channel to watch the footy.
No. Yeah,
This makes
good
no
old
sense.
AFL, Joe.
Different cultures. I thought for different cultures. I thought, okay, we'll see how that plays out. Indigenous, motor neuron disease, cancer. They make sense. Mental health. Yeah, 100. The fact that they haven't got it, I don't know. It's pretty ridiculous.
Maybe they'll do one weekend. Joe, I got one for you. Maybe they do one that's like don't punch people off the ball weekend. What do you reckon?
Yeah, that might be right. That might be right.
Yeah.
The West Coast cultural round. Look at that. The West Coast cultural round is scheduled over Anzac Day weekend.
Yeah,
it's on the 27th of April.
Yeah.
Interesting.
There's enough people saying that we need to forego Anzac Day, so who knows, man? Who knows?
She's got a Lepers versus Walkers game going. Oh, you're a funny one, Logan. You're a funny one. All right. That's pretty good. So let's just go back up there. All right. Tom Stewart and Max Holmes, fellas, thoughts? Well, they certainly become a lot more relevant now that they are actually going to play and they don't have a bye missing. So that certainly makes them a lot more viable. What do you reckon?
100%. I think those two alongside us, but I said before, Bailey Smith, Nevitt, and a few others. Tom Stewart comments were very interesting by the coach. Hey, look, he's going to play a bit more midfield. Which, I mean, we've seen last week. We're probably going to see this week. We've seen through the preseason games and time last year too. I think it's a lot easier to bring a good defender in or a player to play defense in a role than it is to have a good midfielder. So hence why Stewart's coming in there and being that experienced player for them. Imagine if they had got someone like Oliver in the preseason or the trade period last year. It means Tom Stewart wouldn't be playing mid. So it's an interesting situation. Holmes is not currently in my team. I'm more than happy to spend up a bit later. If I'm forced to, he becomes number one defender. Well, then you have to. Disposal efficiency just kills it for me with Holmes. So he's a bit of a no for myself at the moment, Joe.
Yeah, I'm definitely more intrigued by Tom Stewart than Max Holmes. I think Max Holmes, I've said it before, yeah, he can find the pill, but his disposal is not very good. Unfortunately, his kicking efficiency is like in the low 60%. So
it affects him too much.
It affects him a lot, and he's kicking into a forward line that now doesn't have a great, it's not as potent as it used to be. It's no longer the days, of the Tomahawk and Jezza Cameron, those twin towers. Now you're kicking to, it's a bit of a different sort of mix now, and I'm not entirely sure that Max Holmes will clean it up to a point where you can get him going 115 plus. He might offset it by some contested possessions potentially, but for me, I'm not really sold on him. Plus, he has had some soft tissue concerns recently. I mean, we saw it last year, what happened to him, and the fact that he had to come off the ground in that final last year, and he couldn't quite shake it off. So he seems to have had a full preseason this year, but yeah, I just don't see enough. I think it's a bit risky of a selection personally. I think Tom Stewart is more interesting for me being only at 520k when normally you would pick him for around 600, and he played a great role a bit on ball in the center bounds and then would drift back behind the play. And that's a great role for him whilst also taking some kick-ins as well. So I actually like Tom Stewart a lot as a selection personally.
Yeah, there's definitely upside. The price, like if you're not keen on a Sicily, if you want someone who's a little bit more secure than a Roberts or a Jaden Short and these kind of players, it's not bad.
Yeah, I'm trying to load them. I'm trying to load up DFS, but like I don't know if it's because I've got too many things open at the same time, but like it's DFS is dying on me. Like I'm trying to pull up the stats, but I'm pretty sure from memory, if I recall, when Tom Stewart was playing with some CBAs and then would go back behind the ball, he was averaging like 110. Well,
Yeah, not
I'm
sure.
trying to load that up for you to show it, but at this point, you might
It
just
is a
have to
bit
take
slow
my
for
word
myself
for it.
too.
I don't know how many people are on DFS at the moment, which is causing it to be really
Everyone's
slow.
trying to change their teams.
Yeah, everyone's trying to change their teams, but I think there was I did it before. I think it was averaging about 110 when you had around 50% CBAs and then would play behind the ball. So if you can get someone at 520k going 110 without an early buy, here we
There
go.
you go.
Finally, that loaded up. All right, so CBAs, we had at least 50%. With some kick-ins. There you go, 109.6. So if he's going to, which is, round that up basically 110. So if he's going 110
Yep.
at 520k, then that's just so good without an early buy. And he has a history of scoring this, 2023, 113, 106, 107. He's quite consistent, Tom Stewart. So without the early buy as well, I think he certainly comes into a lot of people's calculations at that price.
Yeah, I think so as well. It's there's just so much. We spoke about this on the way here, Joe. It's just mate, there's so many defender options this year. We could make a whole team of defenders, and I think you would be pretty happy with the level of scoring. I think it's weird in Supercoach this year. It seems like we've never really had a time when every team has one or two primo defenders that are actually almost worth it picking them in Supercoach. Like there's been some that have been very good and everyone else. I think probably outside of a Richmond this year, like almost everyone's viable in Supercoach. It's crazy.
Yeah, a lot of viable people. B-Bang, say if I was what are your thoughts on Whitfield at D2? I was initially keen on him, but now that Brisbane no longer have the early buy, Zorko might be a better option at that price point.
Pick both.
You could pick both.
But pick both.
Alternatively, you can decide to not play the early buy player. But no one, you don't really have anyone else in that buy round. You know what I mean? Like that's going to be a really, what did I click here?
Which is why, like personally, I think it's okay. Like if you've got one person out in a buy round, it's all right. If it was back to, hey, I've got 2 or 3 or 4 people in the buy round, then it becomes a bit more sketchy.
So GWS have got these. Yeah, GWS have the second easiest run for the season after Zorko, who has the easiest run, and no longer has that buy, which is wonderful. So
and Jordan Clark has the 4th easiest run. So
Jordan Clark, yeah, he does, but I'm not a big fan. I don't know.
And then Harry Sheasel has the 5th easiest run. I mean, he's not playing backline, but you know what I mean. Caleb Daniel.
Yeah, I just think GWS. I think Whitfield. I think the top 3 defenders are Sheasel, Zorko, and Whitfield. Whether or not it's Whitfield above Zorko or Zorko above Whitfield, I'm not entirely sure which way it goes, but I think those 3 are the top 3 defenders. But if you really want to potentially get a head start on the curve and not play an early buy player, then you can definitely go, instead of Whitfield, you can have Zorko at that point for sure. Just depends on the other rookies that you want to field structure-wise. You might want to have both, but, seeing opening round, we get to look at Roberts and we get to look at Perryman. So those are 2 people in the back line of relevance that we get to have a look at. If neither of those 2 guys pop off, then unfortunately we don't really have many mid-price options in the back line that you want to rock up, that you want to rock with. And so you may be forced to pay up big time anyway. So we'll see after this week whether or not what the structure will be moving forward, I think.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun, man. I mean, we lost Brisbane, we lost Essendon, we lost Brisbane and Essendon and Gold Coast and Geelong. We've still got some good options for the weekend, so
for sure.
It's making things interesting.
Mark, you generous man.
Up,
honestly,
thank you very much,
Thank you so much, Mark. Neil, Zorko, and Dunkley in the mix now. Absolutely, they are. I've actually might end up breaking my own rule of not starting anyone old with Zorko because his opening run, his opening run's ridiculous. I mean, he's got Sydney, West Coast, Geelong, Richmond, the Bulldogs, Collingwood. They're almost all green matchups. Yep. The Saints, they leak points. I don't know why this is white. This is a green in my opinion.
You saw how good Port Adelaide did against Brisbane. St Kilda forwards. So
yeah, for sure. So I don't know why this is white. I reckon this should be green, light green at least. And then the Suns. So you look at the first 8 weeks of the season. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 green matchups. West Coast, who he could just destroy, if he wants to take the piss, and then Geelong. So that's just ridiculous to me. I think Zorko, despite the age, I just feel like if you don't start him, it might really hurt. I don't know.
Yeah, start the risk, Joe. Don't bring the risk in. So
correct.
Works out nice.
Start the risk. Yeah, because if you miss out on that ridiculous start, and then you get the FOMO, you can't act on the FOMO because what happens if you trade him in and then he gets injured? You've just burnt yourself a trade. You just burnt a trade. So, yeah, I wouldn't. It's either start him or death fade him. That's the only thing you can do. Thanks, Mark.
Thanks, Mark.
It's crazy to see Nick Day cost at 63% due to the buy.
Yep. I don't think it's the buy. I think it's more. Well, I mean, like if you didn't have the buy, it'd probably be higher. But once Butters and Bont fell off the cliff, Dacos just shot up. And it goes back to what I was saying before as well. Like once you cut out more and more teams and worthy players worth of buy rounds. Like, let me check. Is it round 3? When do they have the buy? Yeah, round 3. So instead of having 4 teams there, you can now potentially have 1 player out or 2, and then you're not worrying too much, right?
Yeah, I mean, looking at Collingwood's run to start,
he looked so good.
He looked good. I mean, it's Nick Dacos. Of course, he's going to look good.
Well, that's why we're picking him.
He's, I want to see how he does with the Bedford tag. Bedford absolutely will be going to him. And then round 1, he'll cop Willem Drew. Now, whether or not Drew can run with him on the MCG is a different matter. The Bulldogs, he's getting him at a good time, I think, with the injury to Bontempelli. But by that point, I think Treloar will be in. Richards would already be in as well. So it's not necessarily going to be the easiest, even with Bontempelli out. He's then got Carlton. Chincotta could go to him. Sydney, he could get James Jordan. Brisbane, he should do all right. Realistically, I'd like to get Dacos in maybe round 6 before Anzac Day, where he will absolutely torch us in round 7. So I think I want to try and aim to get Dacos in maybe round 6-ish if I can.
Yep.
Hopefully by then I've got a few rookies who would have made enough cash by then to be able to get up to him. Rookie coach, I'm back in my doppelganger, Mr. Stewart. Man, I did think you had a similarity to Tom Stewart. Yep, glad to say you've got that one as well. Look at the fixture for round 24. Essendon and Gold Coast both play twice. Wait, what?
Yep. Yeah, because that's where they're putting the extra game on. But I don't think they're playing each other twice, because that'd be awkward.
Round 24. Have they done that? Let's see.
I think so. I know that it said opening round was postponed. Yeah.
Gee, it's thinking about it, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Maybe my computer is dying. Right before our very eyes.
It's time to go.
It might be time to go. All right, there we go. Carlton and Suns. Look at that. We're screwed. We've got 2 dead rubbers in the final round of the season. How good is that?
And that's 8 points there, Joe. Could end up winning and shooting yourself into the final series with all that niceness.
Yeah, right. Thoughts on Cooper Lord and Riley Sanders as Supercoach options? Looking at the downgrade from Peatling as he was disappointing against Brisbane.
Yeah, I didn't like Peatling. Sanders has to do something. For me, he just didn't look that good. And I think that's what's holding me back a little bit from Sanders. I wish he did more in the opening round. Sorry, in the preseason game. For me to pick him. There's a few players who could end up being bad picks that you go and trade and you get Sanders into your team. So I'm not too punished. You know, you get 2 rounds of Sanders, you can bring him in for other players. So, but mate, he just didn't look too good during that preseason game. Cooper Lord, I'm not a Carlton fan, but his scoring was okay in Supercoach, so you can pick him up if you want to. I think Camporelli might be a better pick.
I mean, Riley Sanders is an interesting one because they're saying Ed Richards will be playing round 1 and Trelaw will be back round 3, apparently. So that means that it's not necessarily he's going to be getting that much time. I mean, he already had 83% in this game without Richards, without Trelaw, without Bond. He had 83% CBAs, which is fine, obviously, but I don't think he's going to be getting that amount of CBAs for very long. If Richards comes back in round 1 and Trelaw is back round 3, round 4, then realistically, he's just going to go back to playing more half forward, I think, in my opinion, which at that price point isn't really the best. So for me, I'm not big on Riley Sanders as a selection. Cooper Lord, on the other hand, is a little bit different. He actually got into the game, managed to break into the team late last year. Where is he? Cooper Lord, here he is. He only had the 55% CBAs because that's what he is. He is not going to be a mainstay. He is a 4th or 5th banana in that midfield brigade for Carlton. But he has some decent time on ground at 79%, and he's actually quite a neat player. If you look at his scoring to end the season last year, it actually wasn't that bad. So, and the price point, he's only in the 200s, I'm pretty sure, low 200s. So, no early buy either, which is certainly very good. I can't believe this is really frustrating, actually. I've never done this so persistently before. But I actually don't mind Cooper Lord as a sneaky selection. I just think, though, that for slightly cheaper, you can get others who are going to be more mainstay in the midfield that won't be subbed out. Like, I think Elijah Sardis is going to be on the ball. I think Nathan O'Driscoll will not be subbed out. He's a 4th-year player now in the system, playing wing with some midfield time, especially without Hayden Young in the team. I think Sheldrick has to play without Mills and without, Goulden. He has to be in there as well. So I think that we have a few of those players already that are going to get some decent time on ground and decent centre bounce attendances that I don't necessarily think that you have to pay up a little bit more for a mid-pricer in Cooper Lord personally. But if you really are bullish about him, I mean, he scored a 69 and then an 88. So he did pretty decently with some CBAs. Will he get 65% CBAs moving forward? I don't think he will. I think he might be in between, maybe 40%, 45%, which would have him maybe going 70, 75. At that price, I reckon you could match it with one of those more expensive rookies without necessarily paying up for him.
Mark, thank you very much, Mark. So I play Tom de Koning for VC into Neil captain. You can definitely do it. It's going to be an interesting one. I think Nank is okay. But TDK, man, they're going to go off this week. You just hope that like a Kono or someone comes back so he doesn't get relegated into the forward line, really. For myself, anyway. I don't mind the Neil pick. I think it's going to be great. No one's picking Bond against North Melbourne, so that's fine. Yeah, why not? You can do it.
I think Neil's had his ankle problems and ankle surgery, and he had the syndesmosis as well. No, for me, Lockie Neal is probably a no for me. I think if you want to start a Brisbane midfielder, I reckon Dunkley, prime of his career, fit, healthy, two-way player. I like Dunkley a bit more than Lockie Neal personally. And yeah, I do. I think so.
Even though Neal has the carry role and Dunkley generally gets stuck with having to be like the cleanup man, you don't mind it?
Yeah, I mean, if we look at the fixture, who Brisbane play? He's got Geelong. He'll play round 1 against Sydney.
Mm-hmm.
There's no Goulden, and there's no Mills. So it's really only Heaney, I think, who's going to be, who might be the dangerous one. He could go head to head with Heaney, sure. Then he's got West Coast. He won't put any attention into anyone at West Coast. Geelong, I don't really think there's anyone that he needs to put attention into. Richmond, again, no one to put attention to. Dogs, I'm not sure if Bont will be back in time for that game. If not, then he could go head to head with Treloar. He's the bromance over there. Collingwood, I mean, he might go head to head with who? I mean, who's gonna play a defensive role on? He's not gonna play a defensive role on Dacos. Dacos is
maybe Perryman or someone.
Yeah. So look, I think to start the season, I don't think there's too many defensive jobs that Dunkley will have to do, which means I think Dunkley will still be a fine selection, I think. Carl is asking if you can only start one, who has priority, Dacos or Sheasel, and I think we both agree on the answer to this one.
It's the big North Melbourne defender, selectable player. Like Dacos is fine, don't get me wrong, but Sheasel doesn't have the buy, and I think out of just that in general, should end up on a higher total points, which is obviously better for you in Supercoach. But as Joe's trying to do with his team, throw him in there as quick as you can because Dacos is decent.
Oh yeah, Dacos he's the favorite for the Brownlow for a reason.
Well,
and
Bont's now injured.
Well, even with Bont even if Bont was healthy, I honestly think if Bont hasn't won a Brownlow by now, it means Bont will never win a Brownlow. I'm sorry. It is harsh. It's terrible. He should have had maybe 2 already by now. But he might go down as the best player in modern history to not have a Brownlow to his name. Unfortunately, it's over for him. We're now in the era of Dacos and Sheasel. You know, North will not stay bad. North are going to improve this year, and they'll only get better next year and the year after. And probably wins is the one thing that's going to be holding Sheasel back from Brownlows. Once the wins start coming, it's going to be Nick Dacos, Sheasel, basically, because they're both almost the same player. And they're going to probably get the Brownlow almost every single year moving forward. So I think Bont's not going to win a Brownlow. I'd love to see Bont win a Brownlow. One of my favorite players in the league, but he'll probably go down in history as the best player to have never won a Brownlow, and it sucks. So I think Shees is the one you start. He's just too good. Last time you'll ever see him in the back line. He'll only be mid-eligible moving forward. So enjoy it while you can.
100%.
Michael brought Zorko, Stewart, and Baslenka in on the back of the change of the fixtures. Yes.
Yeah, I don't mind it. The first 2 definitely. I'm not super sold on Baz, and I think if we look at the keepers, the must-haves in the forward line, if you're running 6, then pick Baz. But if you're only looking at 5, probably no Baz. So yeah, I'm talking Horn Francis, Rochelle, McRae, Daniel, and then Garcia.
You mean Rankin? Rankin, not Rochelle.
Sorry, you know what I mean. Yeah, Rankin.
Yeah.
Have those 5 instead of, and then Baz is the one that kind of misses out for me. So yeah, I don't know. There's just maybe he comes out on the weekend and dominates, and we have to have him. But at the moment, he's not in my calculations, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, because wing he's not going to be full time on ball. Is the thing. He'll play wing a bit on the wing as well. Now, luckily for him, West Coast. No, sorry, that's Gold Coast. Shit. He's got Freo. Freo tough against wingers. St Kilda, Brisbane. And then a few games here in the middle. It's a weird one, but his price point is what a lot of people can afford, and he no longer has that early buy. If he goes 90 plus, that's top 6 forward. That's a keeper. That's saving a trade moving forward. So I can get that.
Potentially.
Kind of hurts the cash gen. Well, yeah. So Sardis and Reed, by missing out on round 0, means that by the time they get to their buy, they normally would have had 2 price rises. So losing out on round 0, yes, means that when the buy comes around, Sardis and Reed would only have had the 1 price rise, which is unfortunate and does mean that they miss out on part of the allure and the benefit of starting round 0 and then having the round 4 buy. But there's nothing much you can do about that, unfortunately. I still think Sardis is one that you'd be happy to field, and I think Reed is also one that could be decent fielding because he's got very good skills for a tall person. He's very clean. He can take marks. He can kick on both feet. The only thing holding him back, obviously, is his body. But if you go to his scoring, where is he? Zach Reed. You know, he took some kick-ins, took 3 kick-ins, and 91% time on ground, 73 super coach, playing in the back pocket. And so, you know, he's one that you can, if you're gutsy and you hope that his body's finally holding up, he's someone you can field at D6, I reckon. Just joined the league, gets decided to try and put a team together. Absolutely. Absolutely,
nice, man. And there's something to be said as well, like, I know Joe and I have talked a little bit off air about being a bit blasé with making your team and not taking so much preseason stuff into account. I think that's to be said, especially this year with so many promos out. Like, if we had 4 games of football, it would have been bloody fantastic. Like, 4 preseason games, you just go in there with the ones you wanted to pick straight away. But if you were one of those people that locked in Kadeem Coleman back in December, come back to your team now, you'd have the same chance of winning as everyone else, just because the knowledge and the information and just stuff's changing so much at the moment. It's crazy.
Man, not even just that. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, you might know this, but the members here on the channel in the coaches box, we've made a community team based on our collective minds and voting for the players. We came up with this team last week. All right. Last week, this is what the team looked like. At the time, we thought that it was going to win the money. That's how good it was. All right. Look at it now. And in the span of 1 week of practice games, we had to absolutely overhaul it because the conning was crap. Connor O'Sullivan was no good. But Allen finished on -13. Bond died. Steele didn't look great. Will Day didn't look great, have some forward time. Peatling didn't look great, playing on the wing. You know, these guys didn't even play. Hewitt's gone. Sanders doesn't look that great either. The team, basically, in the span of a week, had to absolutely be overhauled. So, mate, it's ridiculous how much things can change. It's almost a detriment to you if you are really early into it in the preseason and trying to track every step of the way, because you end up having situations like this where it might look good and then 1 week later, oh no, in the bin, we got to start again from zero.
Even today, there was a comment that had been spoken about. I don't know if you can find it on Twitter. James Sicily's probably going to end up playing forward.
What?
Yeah, they're going to play Frost alongside Battle and Barras in the back line. So
I'm going to look that up now.
There's another one that potentially cops the where are we up to in the chat, Joe?
Oh, here we are. I think this might be the one you're talking about. Sam Frost was up in the same back line as recruits Tom Brass and Josh Battle. No room for Jack Gunston. So if Sam Frost is in the back line with Barras and Battle,
there goes sick dog.
That's ridiculous. That's bullshit. I'm sorry. That's bullshit. That's just bullshit. Actually, that's good. It means Hawks downfall. Here to see it and lap it up. Sicily named on the wing.
Are out. Are the team sheets out?
Teams in. All right, there we go. Thanks, Double Dummy. What the hell? Oh, so Grundy's in and Papui's in. Okay, cool. Blakey, Melican, Wicks, Roberts, Rampy, Patton. Ben Patton, ladies and gentlemen, on debut. We all knew this. Lloyd on a wing. Heaney, McInerney, Campbell, McCartan, Papley. Okay, good to know. Shaw, Mills is out. We know this. Injury. Golden is out. We know injury.
Well.
And then the Hawks. I mean, you can't look at this and be worried. Sicily is not playing on the wing. Guys, if you've been here for long enough, you know that I could not give two craps, okay, about the team sheets and where people are named. It is not worth wiping your butt with it. There is no way in the world that Sicily is playing on the wing. Just because Scrimshaw is named here doesn't mean that he's not going to be playing forward.
We'll see, okay? Joe. We'll see.
It doesn't mean the Sicily is playing on a wing. Honestly, you want to run on bet? Like, seriously, is Sicily really a winger now? Like, are we actually reading this and saying, yes, Sicily's playing on a wing? There's no way Sicily's playing on a wing.
Yeah. Frost names, so Sicily playing forward. Will Day to the wing. Sicily goes forward. We'll see. See what happens.
Look at them. They're sending Will Day. What
there
are
you go. To the forward line.
They're sending Will Day to the wing. They named him on.
You look at that team, right? There's no they've got Chol, who's tall, and they've got no other talls in the on-field forward line. Like, I don't think Morrison's that tall. Nick Watson's obviously not tall. Nash is okay, but I don't think he's a marking threat. Ginnivan is there as well. So, as some people are saying here, Logan's saying he trained with the forwards today at the SCG. So, yeah, watch out, I suppose.
I love it. We're going to see a Hawks downfall, baby. Oh, this is so good.
They've come out and made that documentary, Joe, and then that's it, yeah? Watch out.
Oh, man. Hawks, Hawk ball, going to be choking. I love it. I'm going to be here for it. Unbelievable. JRS and Collingwood. Yeah, Whitfield, we know. Stringer, we know is injured as always. Tom Green, we know is injured. Hogan, injured. Not sure about Riccardi, what happened to him. Cornelia named on ball. How legit that is, only time will tell. Angove gets a game. Grozowski is in to replace Jesse Hogan. Stone on the bench. Leak on the bench.
Yeah. Yum saying here, no Leak. Leak's just on the bench. You'd think he plays. Yeah.
But this is the Sunday game. So this is extended
bench.
Exactly. So there is a chance that he doesn't play. Same thing with Angove. Same thing with Stone. Could not play.
Out of that list, right? You think legally has to play if he's fit. So there's one spot. Yes. You probably think Weir plays. So there's two spots. You probably think Connor Brown plays. So there's a third.
Is Weir suspended at all? No.
Well, he can't be if he's named for the team.
Who was the player? Who was the player that was suspended for the naughty things?
It sounds like Leak, but it's not Leak.
All right, so it wasn't Weir. All right, fair enough.
No.
I don't know if Angove might be a pretty decent sub. Or maybe Hannaford. They love their small forwards. Hopefully not Leak.
Fahey's the suspended one.
Thank you.
Suspended. Yeah. So he's expected.
If Leak is the sub, if Leak is the sub, then could be unfortunate.
Mate, our backline is going to be shit. Our backline is going to have Zach Reed and Patton, and that's it. That's our backline this year. Maybe Pryor, but you've still got to wait for what happens when who does Redmond kick out, Joe?
The problem is we played with an extended list in the practice game. We didn't really play with our best 22. So, I think Hayes definitely makes way. I think Pryor stays. I think it's Hayes who goes. I think Hayes goes, but we'll see. We'll see. Only time will tell. Maynard, Moore, McInnes, Reef. Okay. Quaynor, how Josh Dacos is still. We know Josh Dacos has been playing halfback all preseason. Perryman's named on a wing. How much do you want to take stock of that? We'll see.
Depends how much he touches the ball, but I suppose someone has to take the wing for Dacos.
Yeah, Dacos on the ball, Crisp on the ball. Ed Allen on bench could play. But yeah, no one else. That's
out of that list, out of that emergencies, right? On the interchange, I probably go Elliott has to play. Membry probably plays. You think Markov plays, and then like one other. They probably got their 4 already figured out.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, like that's going to be their run. So Parker, Frampton, Ed Allen, Noah Long, they're not going to play. I don't think.
Yep, I agree. So, what are your tips, mate, for this weekend?
Well, yeah, we have to do tips, Joe. Forgot about that.
I'm tipping the Swans.
Are you going to pull up your AFL tipping?
Sure.
Because we got tips this weekend. It's only 2 games, but we definitely have I have ESPN tips for work. I've got AFL tips for the Centre Bounce channel. Don't know how many people we've got in there at the moment, but you'll be able to tell us because you are the host. Sorry, Ned.
Tipping the Swans?
Sorry. Yeah, I think so
too.
The
Swans and tipping the Pie. So those are my 2 tips for this week.
I think that's probably good too. GWS is okay, but I think they're a bit sus. They've got too many injuries, too many players out for me.
Go to the comp. We've got 24 players, I think, is it? 24 people in our tipping competition. If you would like to join the tipping competition, ladies and gentlemen, we do have a code here. If I can. Oh, geez. Control C. There's a link there. I'll put it here in the chat. You guys want to join our tipping competition, and the code, as you can see, is E624MW9D. If you want to join our Centre Bounce tipping competition, you're more than welcome to do so.
What is it? E6. Sorry. 24MW9D.
Yep. So if you'd like to join, that's the code. Go for rugby. Here is the difference. NRL is league, and then there is union. Okay. Sure. Thanks, Charles. Much appreciated. So it takes a cyclone to show the AFL the utter stupidity of this opening round.
What to do?
I deleted my team and started again from scratch. Quite happy with it too. Excellent. It is quite therapeutic, and you look at it with a fresh set of eyes. I agree.
Yeah, definitely. Especially when you've thought about kind of wanting to do an idea for a while, and then it's like, hey, let's make it work, and then it works. It's like, oh, there you go, and then you realize that you're missing out on Cherry, and it's like, oh, I've got to remake my team again. Sorry, guys.
Never O'Sullivan and Baz are the only 3 I'm looking at from Geelong. Oh, I don't know, man. O'Sullivan only played the first quarter. That's really interesting.
Yeah, some people in the chat are saying he played the VFL game beforehand, so maybe that's done something to him.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's still a bit rough.
Well, if he played the VFL game beforehand, I guess that sort of suggests that he might not really be best 22 then. Connor, okay, Connor, should we avoid Bombers and Suns rookies? Oh, I don't think you should necessarily avoid them, because you're not only picking these rookies just for their money. They're also going to give you good points per dollar. someone like Elijah Sardis who's under 200K is going to be one of the on ballers for the Bombers. So that's a really good role for someone who's had a very good preseason, high draft pick. You're going to get good return even if you are getting one. Now, of course, is it as ideal as before? No. The dream run would have been that they play round 0 and get the extra price rise. But he's still going to score well enough. Same thing with Zach Reed, especially given the scarcity of our backline rookies that we have on offer. I think Reed is someone that we're almost stuck with. Now, I don't have an issue with Reed. I think Reed's a very good player, and hopefully, fingers crossed, his body holds up and he will score really well for us. And I do think the same thing with Sardis. He could score us 90s, at sub 200K. Nothing to sneeze at there, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think as well, you're just paying for the fact that what am I saying? You're paying for the fact that they're actually going to be playing too. We look at a Reed, potentially a Pryor, and a few others. Like, these guys might not even there's no one else. That's the problem.
Yeah, I'll still pick the likes of Roberts, Perryman, or Short just to save the 100K on paying up for an Uber premium. Well, we'll see. The benefit of this opening round is that we get to look at Roberts and Perryman, and we get to see the roles that they play and how they perform in an actual game. So we get a free look at those two. If we see Roberts continues to play halfback, not going onto a wing and take some kickouts, then that's great. Roberts certainly becomes of value. If Perryman's can score a bit more in transition without necessarily being overly reliant on tackles, for example, similar to a Peatling, and we get another good game out of Perryman as well against a genuine midfield and not witches' hats in the form of the Richmond Tigers, then that's also a really good sign as well. So we'll see whether or not the return on the investment is worth it after we get a look at them.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's it's an interesting question because me and you off air, Joe, were talking about, hey, look, I'll go lock in Zorko and lock in Clark and a few of these other players. It's like, well, you take the risk of, these guys potentially working or not working out, or getting someone you think is going to end up being a bit more secure, but a lot more expensive. So, yeah. So there's a lot of ifs and buts this year in Supercoach, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Is 12 premiums plus Daniel and Baz a good balance? Have 12 premiums, 17 rookies. How many on field? How many rookies on the field and the question is, where are your rookies on field? It seems that the best rookies to field are the ones that are in the midfield because, as we mentioned, they're the ones who are going to get centre bounce attendances, and they're the ones who are unlikely to be subbed out. So if you're fielding more rookies, if most of your rookies are, you got four, say you got 4 rookies in the midfield, 1 in the back line, 1 in the forward line, and maybe 1 at flex, I think that's a really good balance there of keepers as well as the cash generation that you're going to get from the rookies. You want to field the best ones, and the best ones appear to be in the midfield. So if you've got 7 rookies, 6 or 7 rookies on the field, I think that's a fine balance. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I think so as well. 4 to 5 mids, 3 to 4 mid rookies, potentially 1 in the back line, 1 or 2 in the forward line is probably the best way to go. And then what you do with flex, so you're picking Flynn or are you picking someone else, really?
Yeah, I feel like with flex, the most common options that I've seen in the flex thus far are either Flynn, as you say, or someone like an Ashcroft, Levi, who might have some sub risk, but when he's playing on the field is certainly good enough to give you a 90 odd score. I mean, isn't that sort of what he did in the preseason game? If I go to
he scored 98 versus North Melbourne.
Yeah.
Are you saying Flynn?
No, I mean about Levi.
Oh yeah, 80, I think.
80, yeah.
So
that's not too bad, 29% CBA. So he got a taste of it. he probably does have a bit of sub risk attached to him. But if he can score 80 odd, he only had the 66% time on ground. You know what I mean? So what happens if he's given 70% time on ground and then gets subbed off? That's scoring that you probably want to have on your field and not on your bench.
Yeah, I think we're going to have, just because Essendon got I suppose Essendon still have the early bye, because a few of these other players still have a bye round early as well. You're going to be okay to pick. Like, I think at the moment, potentially I could have a Sheldrick on the bench. And then it's just competing with one or two of those players, right? A Sheldrick or not a Sardis probably, but a Sheldrick or a Finn O'Sullivan, that kind of thing, in terms of the scoring wise. So it's okay. You just want to pick the best rookies, really. And, sorry, I have Sheldrick on the field. Like, there's going to be a week where he does well and then the other people do well. So, yeah.
I'd be really bummed out if I had Sheldrick on my bench and he scored 100.
Yeah, it happened. It happened to people a lot last year too, especially with the forward rookies. It used to just be rookie roulette. Like, you wouldn't know which one's going to score well against which player. So, yeah, it's a bit unlucky.
I got Sheasel, Zorko, and Midfield. Why not? Only other I like is Clark. Fair enough. Paying up for the big dogs. I reckon Sheasel, Zorko, and Whitfield are the top three by far. I think there's them three. There's a bit of daylight, and then the next rung. I think those are top tier. And yeah, they're about 600k, but I think the consistency and the ceiling that you're going to get from those three are equivalent to the midfielders. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I like those three. They're really good. Stewart seems to miss games, though. He's hurt me in the past. Yeah, those tend to be freak ones, like a concussion game here, for example.
That's where we start the risk. We don't bring the risk in, man.
Exactly.
Start the risk. Don't bring it in. Everybody's got question marks. I mean, even Tim English. People are saying lock Tim English straight in your team. I'm like, maybe not. So start the risk. Don't worry about it. If you have to trade him in. Just don't be like those people that didn't have McKercher and then brought McKercher back in and then brought McKercher out again.
Don't remind me. Stop it.
McKercher back in again.
Freaking hate McKercher. Honestly, McKercher destroyed me last year. McKercher destroyed. Ryan, he literally got told off by his coach last year for stat padding. I can't pick someone like
better
that.
Starters, though. I don't mind him. I think there's better starting players.
Nick Martin, nah. Nick Martin's not playing backline. He's playing wing half forward, and he will be reliant on goals more. So you're not going to get the consistency or the floor, I think, out of Nick Martin now. So no, fade him.
He did look good in that preseason game, though.
Oh, he did, but he kicked 2 goals. So don't. Plus, we have one less game now, so don't pick Nick Martin. Julian, Cherry or Nank? So torn. What do you reckon? Cherry or Nankervis?
It's fucking rough, bro. It is like the roughest thing ever. The only thing is, look, my brain is saying go pick Nank because Nank is so close to what Max Gawn is like. And you know that he's going to get 1 million CBAs because Richmond are going to get the ball scored on them every 3 minutes of the game. That's the only thing. But yeah, rough, man. It's rough. It is rough.
Look, you know which one you're going to keep by the end of the season.
You know which one you're going to finish with. Yeah.
You're going to finish with. So Sherry is certainly going to be... You can't finish your team without Sherry. Because if you don't have Sherry for this post-buy run, it's season over. Look
pretty good.
West Coast Freo, Carlton, Hawthorn, Dogs, Melbourne Shaw, Sydney Shaw, Geelong, St Kilda, against Boyd. Maybe the Boyd. GWS, Richmond again. Like you just need Sherry here. If you don't have him, then yeah, it's season over. Nank is 33 years old, or he's over 30 years old with an injury interrupted preseason. He had a career season last year. Is he going to back it up? You know what I mean? So Nank is going to get this. Where Nank is going to get points is from being in the ruck and then going behind the ball to get intercept marks. That's where he's going to get it. He's going to play a bit like Gawn. So yes, I reckon Big J is correct about the closest thing that you're going to get to the Gawn game style.
Yeah.
And if he gets injured, he's not too far away from Sherry to be able to get to him. I think price-wise, right? They're not too far apart.
No, Cherry's like 640 and Nank is, excuse me, 595 or something. So
about 50K.
Yeah.
What can you do with that 50K? I mean, if you can finagle 50K from somewhere to get Sherry set and forget, you save yourself a trade, that's for sure.
Look, I think there's definitely something to be said, especially this year where it looks like a few of us are going value in a lot of positions. I think there's something to be said about, hey, don't force yourself to have to make too many trades as much as you have to. And I think that's where kind of the Cherry thing comes in. Like, always was Gawn and Grundy or Gawn and Cherry or whatever it was, just because that's almost guaranteed two trades that you don't have to use later on. Yeah, maybe that's a bit of an argument for yourself too. But it comes down, like, if Gawn and Cherry, like, hey, I have to go and, I have to downgrade to Tom Stewart. I can't get Zorko because I've gone Cherry over Nank. Well, then, hey, you know which one you're going to do. So, yeah.
I reckon go Sherry.
Is he in your team, Joe?
Maybe. I reckon Sherry. Sherry's in this prime of his career. Nank is not.
Yeah.
But no one's going to take the points at Richmond. Him and Short are probably going to be the only two guys who go over 100. So maybe it is Nank. Only time will tell, Julian. Don't listen to me when it comes to who you want to pick for the rucks. Unfortunately, I might have steered a lot of people away from the clear, obvious number one ruck
so bad last year.
So maybe don't listen to me when it comes to rucks. I'm not going to listen to me about rucks at this point. Let's just calm it down about saying kia ora. Sorry, Woody. You know I love you, mate. I'm sorry. Good to see you, my friend. I have Kyle Lohman at F2, Yaron.
Ooh, very different. Very, very different. I don't mind it, but I think they're going to share the ball around a lot at Brisbane, and the mids are going to end up scoring a bit. But I think it's silly to say, hey, no Horn Francis, hey, no Rankin. Like, these are guys who are 500K, and there may be a little bit upside in points and like points to cost value with a Lohman potentially, but it's hard. You're spending trades that you're not going to keep him the whole year. So.
Sicily. Look, there's too many question marks over Sicily. I really wanted to start him. I was really bullish about him, but if all this ridiculous bullcrap about him playing forward is going to pan out, then
he's their fix-it man. That's the only problem with Sicily, and that's why I haven't wanted to start him. Was just, hey, if something goes wrong, if they need someone to come in and carry the team for a game or do something of that nature, that's Sicily.
Yeah.
Similar to when Callum Mills was up and about. Like, you just can't trust the scoring because one day he's going to be backline and the next week he's forward line.
Right.
Maybe not Mills forward, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, fair enough. Lockie Ash, he's a good player. He's a very good player, Lockie Ash. He's gonna wane. He's no guarantees that he's gonna be the man when you've got Lockie Whitfield back there. I think Whitfield's going to be the number one, and Ash will be the backup. I don't mind him, but if you're going to pick one of those early buy players, I think it's Whitfield. I think Whitfield's ceiling is a lot higher. and a lot more consistent. And you're looking at his Supercoach scoring last year. During this period of time, Whitfield's going like 120s. You know what I mean? So look, he's a good player. Don't get me wrong, but Whitfield's the man back there. He just is. He took a lot of kick-ins. He took 46 kick-ins, but I don't think he got as many. Let me pull up the kick-in stats from last year, but he ain't Whitfield, is all I'll just say.
There's only one Whitfield.
There is only one Whitfield. GWS. Kick-in breakdown.
Chincotta hip injury and no time frame on return. Well, there you go. Bit of an ounce. You need Dacos, too hard to get him. Butters and Bont in later at those prices. Well, we might not get Bont till after the mid-season buys, just because of the fact that he's actually going to drop in price. So it's going to hurt a little bit there. The Goats, how you doing, Hippo? Thank you very much for watching. Lord will be a great player, but only played 2 games and is overpriced, potentially. McGovern or Zorko. I don't know how much Coleman will affect Zorko in a month. Yeah, potentially. I don't, for the life of me, I don't believe that Brisbane will rush Coleman back in. We might see him post mid-season buy, just for the fact that he plays for 10 minutes and then gets injured again. And if they're going to keep doing it again and again and again, they're going to take the slowest run they can with him. They don't need him down there. It's not like maybe a North Melbourne or someone losing like a Harry Sheasel and then saying, hey, we're going to try and bring him in as quick as we can. For me, they're going to lose him. If he gets injured again, that's his season done. So they're not going to rush him back once he's ready to go. So, yeah. I don't think so. Hawkball. Should I go Flynn D2 and Antipod Cherry or too risky? I don't mind it. You just have to be insanely confident that Flynn is going to be a good pick, because if he isn't, you're stuffed. That's the only thing. And looking at that Hawkball saying, hey, what do I actually get out of the pick by not having Cherry in my team? If it means you get one extra mid-pricer, it's probably not worth it. If it means that, hey, I can now get a full back line or a full forward line or spend a whole bunch of less trades or do something special, then okay. But, yeah, a lot of us have Flynn at flex at the moment for those kind of reasons. Scoring's great. He'll probably be better than a rookie. But if he goes down, you're not missing out too much, as opposed to, hey, after round 4 or 5, it's best 18's gone and you could be really struggling there. And you don't want to have to spend, you don't want to be the guy fixing trades when everyone else is starting to upgrade their teams. And Joe is not having fun with DFS at the moment. That's all I'm saying. Joe is not enjoying DFS.
I'm about to put my fist through this laptop, honestly. I don't know what the heck is going on. Finally, about time. It took me maybe 5 minutes to finally get this little table up. Unbelievable. There you go. He had more than double the kick-ins. All right. No, where is he? Ash. He had over 100 more. He had 113 more kick-ins than Ash last year.
Yeah.
So yes, there you go. That's what I was trying to load up. Something as simple as this. I couldn't even load it. Oh my god.
Yeah, Dunk. I think we're saying Dunks versus Neil. Dunks cheaper. I know Joe says Dunks. He doesn't think Junks goes after kind of the shitty roles sometimes, but it does feel like Dunkley gets put on players and says, hey, Fagan, I'll go do the job and let Lockie Neal go bang. So we'll see. Hey, how are you boys? Harry, how you doing, mate? Thanks very much. Sarong or Neil at M1. I've touted with both. I may pick neither. Both may be a bit more expensive, and it really depends. Joe, at the moment, Oliver's cheap. Chera's good as well. Rosie, you kind of have to start. Then you start to get a bit tricky. You're like, well, do I pick Petrarca? Because Petrarca's going to go monster. And then if that's 4, well, then Brayshaw's very, very good as well. So you might not pick anyone else in your midfield this year to start off with.
I reckon Sarong. If you pick out of those 2, I go Sarong.
But what if starting neither of them?
But he's asking Sarong or Neil. He's asking for He wants either Sarong or Nim.
Of course.
So I'm going to say Sarong. I reckon Sarong. He's primed. He's had a great preseason. He's taken the piss. He can go forward and hit the scoreboard. I think Sarong is the best buy. Oh, yeah, I think Sarong for me. Out of those two, I go Sarong. Murray! On your Murray.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, mate. Holmes and Pal Pepper or Pryor and Rankin?
All
right.
I think the first one, just for the fact that I don't know if Pryor's best 22, so
he could be, and if he is, he'll probably score you 70s. Pal Pepper might score you something similar, but he has the potential for a spike game because he plays Richmond in round 2. So Pal Pepper I like at F6, for example, if you want to have him there. And there's injuries to Butters, so could that mean that he could potentially come up to the stoppage as well? Could be really interesting. So I think Pal Pepper has more scope to get a spike game. Holmes, I think I prefer Rankin over Holmes, though.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I prefer Rankin over Holmes. Like, if you could go Rankin and Pal Pepper, I think you'd be doing a lot better than one of the each. Right there,
Look, the thing is with Pal Pepper, you can field someone else at F6, like a Davidson, for example. I think Davidson might be fieldable at F6, so it's not end of the world. So I reckon you could do Pryor and Rankin. Given the lack of defensive options, defensive rookies, whereas in the forward line we have a few more. I reckon maybe Pryor and Rankin for me.
Yeah, okay. I'll stick to what I was saying. That's all right. All good.
Squeak, Clark in defense or Whitfield? I reckon Whitfield for me.
Yeah, I like Whitfield, but try and have Clark if you can afford him.
Woody's thinking of ditching Boyd as a Saints man. I can see Keeler getting the spot over Boyd when Marshall is fully fit. Boyd too much of an Aldi Marshall in the ruck. Keeler offers something different.
Yeah, Keeler seems a bit definitely cemented his spot a little bit more in the Saints versus Brisbane. No, Saints versus Port game. It's I think Boyd is just good for the price, and you'd assume at some point he's probably going to play. Hence the I don't think he's going to be R1. I don't think he might not even be number 1 ruck, but I think they definitely need someone to hit out for him, and that might be Boyd.
Hope it's Boyd. I really hope it's Boyd. I think Wayne Carey, Lee Matthews, and Gary Ablett Senior might dispute greatest ever not to win the Brownlow.
We'll see. Doggies could win a few more premierships before then.
I mean, Wayne Carey's a half forward. I mean, so that's not really fair. I would definitely say Gaz for sure. Is Merritt a no-go to start? Well, he plays one less game, plus he has the early bye. So I'd say no-go. Carey for me. We gave out tips there.
I don't think you can start him either.
How many rookies are you lads running the back line? 1 on field at the moment and 2 on the bench.
I've been playing around with none on field. It's more just about being able to afford everyone else and having any that I actually like. I mean, at the moment, like there's Zach Reed who seems to be locked in, and then that's it now. Leake's not even named on field, so we'll have to be see until Sunday to see if he's even best 22. So we could get two rookies in the back line. Like we might have to go deep in our pockets and try and find a Blight or someone, Joe.
Could, or maybe even a Griffin Logue type, but we have to be paying up for those guys. Is Pryor a good selection? I think Pryor
maybe a trainer.
I think Trainer has to play in time, but I think Pryor does play. I think he does play. Rookies I've got, I think the 3 rookies that I've got are Reed, Leake, and Patton. I think those 3.
Oh yeah, Patton's the one.
I think those three are probably your best ones. And then potentially, if Pryor does play, he could be a fourth. But I think if you got the three of Reed, Leak, and Patton, I think you'd be happy with those three.
Yeah.
What's up with Hewitt again? He's got a calf complaint, cap and flash, so rule him out.
Yeah.
Hanley likely a sub? Yeah, Hanley for sure likely.
Yeah,
sub.
if not, some people are saying he's playing small forward. So apparently did very, very well in the VFL and whatnot, but I don't know how well he's going to score in actual AFL. I suppose that's why we're lucky we get a preseason game.
Let's drop out all Australian centre half-back to play full forward.
We don't have anyone else. Like, no Kalchadir. Chol has to be with somebody. Like, who else is going to go there? You don't even have Kanzitsky anymore to go play forward. Like, yeah, not great.
No bias, correct.
Yep.
So that's a rookie that doesn't get up, correct.
Yep. He's gone.
Forget O'Sullivan's game as he played in the seconds before playing the seniors. He already played 2 full quarters. Yeah, or you can forget the game, but the problem is that you can't forget that he was playing in the seconds. So if he's playing in the seconds, it means that he's more likely to be playing in the seconds come start the season. So we'd love if it was only like 1 quarter. If it was just 1 quarter and then he played more in the senior team, then that would have been probably better for us to have a look at. He actually looked very good in that first quarter. And it would have been nice to see in opening round how much of a game that he gets, if any. So it's a bit of a question mark. If he's named in round 1, then he could be another one that we start because he actually looked quite good on field.
It's a bit of a tricky one. We'll see with Geelong. If it depends on what happens with SDK. A little bit.
Yeah. Kyle. Hello to the best Supercoach channel on YouTube. Oh, thanks, Kyle.
Thanks, Kyle.
That's too generous, mate. Nakos versus Neil. Also, thoughts on Jordan Dawson? Cheers, lads.
Jordan Dawson's the easier one to figure out first. I like him. I think he's going to end up scoring quite a lot. I think we may have been a little bit overreactive with James Peatling and his influence in the team. As we saw in the preseason game, Dawson and Crouch still went very big, still had a good influence. I think they'll look to focus on him a little bit too. I like both Nick Dacos and Neil, but I think if we're doing a V, it's the fact that Nick Dacos has the early bye. It's probably the big thing. And Brisbane have such a juicy run early, man. Their run early is like, get both. Nick Dacos, as Joe said a few times, between round 6 and 9, you want him in the team. 100%, like locked in. But the early bye hurts him a little bit too. So, yeah. Like, imagine if Nick Dacos scores like a 70 or something against GWS, and then like everyone jumps off him because they're going to get him like a bunch cheaper in a couple of weeks.
Correct. And that's what I'm doing. I'm waiting for round 0 to see how he does with the Bedford tag. If he scores under 110, that might be the bracket for me. If he can score 110 with Bedford on him, then I'm going to start him because it means that this guy is just going to fly like no one's business. I'm going to have 110 maybe as my threshold for whether or not I start Nick Dacos or not. If he goes under that, then that means we're going to get him for cheaper in a few weeks' time. Whereas if he goes above it, it means that there's no stopping him. He's going to score so well in the weeks to come that he's not going to drop in price that much. So that's going to be my threshold there. Neil does have a ridiculously piss weak easy run. I mean, apart after Sydney, he's got West Coast, Geelong, Richmond back to back, which is really good, but
not bad.
I'm pretty sure he said in an interview that Will Ashcroft is going to be getting more time on the ball, which means that he doesn't have to do as much heavy lifting. What does that mean? Does that mean he's going to exert himself? Does that mean that he's going to go guns blazing, coming off an interrupted preseason?
Might
I
just
don't
be
know.
might just be another person that takes a bit of attention, so Neil can go big.
I reckon if I have to pick one or the other, I'd go with Nakos personally. And in terms of Jordan Dawson, I think Jordan Dawson is back. He was playing on the ball. Yeah, he had a few not great kicks. You can tell by his fantasy 135 to 111 ratio. But the fact that he had 135 fantasy is massive. A huge score. He had half of the CBAs, which you probably think is not quite as much as you would like from him, but great kick to handball ratio, was tackling, hit the scoreboard from outside 50 as well. The only issue is they might get him resting forward, which actually might not be an issue, but I'll probably want to have more CBAs than 52. It was only a practice game, so this could only just be, there's no need to go full guns blazing, but he looks really good. If you want to start Dawson, I'd personally love to start him, but I don't have him in my starting team at the moment.
No spots.
No spots. If there was one spot, if I had one spot left in my midfield, it'd probably be Jordan Dawson. He looked really good to the eye.
Yeah, he did. Good old Yaron. Where is he?
Oh,
Yaron. Thank you very much, Yaron. Kai Lohman is a fixture pick for me with games against West Coast and Richmond. Definitely a spike scorer or two. Started in the green vest in the first 3 games last year. Scores of 28, 23, 18. Has St Kilda, Western Bulldogs, and North up to round 9. Yeah, definitely. He could end up being like this year's Jesse Hogan style pick where first couple of weeks he does go bang. It is one to watch out for, I suppose. So definitely, if it works out for you, fantastic. It's more just what if you mentioned 5 teams there, Yaron? If the other 4 games he ends up scoring like 60s, then his average 3-round average isn't that great. So maybe it's like a get Kai Lohman big scores and then look to offload a little bit later, maybe.
I love it. He's such a jet.
Yeah.
He could honestly kick bags in each of those games.
Apparently it's a small forward, but I don't believe it.
I love it. I love it, Yaron. It's these games that it's the players that you pick right at the start where you have to start them otherwise because you're not going to trade them in, and you're only starting them just for a little bit to capitalize on fixture. And he's just so talented as well. I love it. How did he do in the preseason game? I mean, against the preseason game. Lohman. 11 disposals, 4 marks, 3 tackles, 2 goals, 3 for a 79. So you obviously want him to kick goals. If he's not kicking goals, he had an opportunity to kick 5 goals in that game, which obviously would have seen him go bananas. So look, it's a risky pick. It's a risky pick, but there is reasoning behind it. There is reasoning. I like it. Keen to see Callahan against the Pies. Yeah, Finn for sure.
Could end up being a nice offer. Yeah, could end up being a nice breakout player.
Yeah, rejected a massive offer against the Saints to stay there with the Giants. He's going to be the main man in that midfield without Tom Green, so it will be interesting to see for sure. With 12 rookies and 2 mid prices, you obviously have 9 rookies on field. I have 3 defensive, 4 mids, and 1 flex. So that's 3 plus 4 is 7, plus 1 is 8. You've got 8 rookies, not 9 rookies. 3 defense plus 4 mids is 7, and 1 flex is 8. You've got 8 rooks on field. Yeah, that's great. I think that's good. No early buy premiums. Very good. You hit the ground running and go very, very fast.
No Zorko or Whitfield for yourself then.
No, Zorko's not an early buy player anymore.
Oh, sorry, that's true. That's true. Ooh.
That's right. Not much love for Whitfield, bro. There's a lot of love for Whitfield, James. A lot of love for Whitfield. Too soon. It will always be too soon. It will never not be too soon. I can't. How could I possibly forget? CWT, g'day, man. I'm trying something outside of the box, outside of the coach's box, perhaps. Flynn R2 with Jackson F2 as a backup plan. Wow.
That's ballsy, man.
It looks good. It looks
very
good, Jackson.
Ballsy. The thing is, like, Reedy isn't going to do shit. Let's be honest. Reedy is in the toilet. Reedy couldn't. You know what the warning signs were for me? Reedy could not beat Cohen Livingston in the Indigenous game. He lost to Cohen Livingston in the Indigenous game. This is a guy who he can't even play AFL to save his life, and Reedy lost against him. Like, come on, man. No chance. No chance at all. So, yeah. They're just, the second that Darcy's back, they're going to say, see you later, Reedy. They might even play Luke Jackson as solo ruck and then just not have Reedy at all.
They won't. They actually don't. I don't know what they see in him. Yeah, I don't know what they see in him, but they like Reedy in the ruck for some reason. I don't know. It's a bit bizarre to me, but yeah. I don't mind it, to be honest. It is gutsy. It is outside of this box. Flynn, you just need Flynn's body to hold up. What happens because we know Flynn's had an interrupted preseason. He's had various niggles last year and even this preseason. He was on the twos when they were in the intra club. So there's a few question marks over Flynn. And what happens if he goes down?
I think he'll play.
You then send Jackson to the ruck. Sure, you'll send Jackson to the ruck. But is Jackson going to be a better ruck than the other genuine ruck that you would have in the ruck line? Is he going to beat a Nankervis? Is he going to beat a Gorn? Is he going to beat a Sherry? Is he going to beat a TDK? You're not only relying on Flynn, you're also relying on Jackson, keeping it up and being as dominant as he's looked so far in the preseason. It is outside of the box for sure, but sometimes it's the outside of the box ideas that get you ahead of those that are stuck in the box. So I don't mind it. There is method to that madness, CWT. I will not say no.
I think everyone's got to pick different players, otherwise everybody's 100% ownership. But you've really got to make, like, similar to the question before, you've really got to take ownership of that extra 300K that you're getting and put it to somewhere of use. Like, if you're getting top 6 defenders, everyone's 600K, you know what I mean? 5 to 600K, cool. Okay, you've taken advantage of it. You're not struggling somewhere else to make upgrades in your team. But, rough, man. It's rough.
I listened to Joe and it cost me thousands of places. I'm sorry, WWE. I'm sorry. Forgive me, mate. Forgive me. Good to see you, Cheese. No
What's up,
worries,
Cheese?
mate. No need to apologize. Sam Laylor in line to debut next week. Interesting.
There you go. Hey, I'm not picking him, but some people probably will, and might score very well for them. So yeah.
Ugh. Sorry, Logan. I apologize about that to you. Yes, I apologize. Rowan Marshmallow. Yep, stuff him as well. That ruck line last year was a killer. Oh, Sky Swizz is obviously before he started going live. I'm pretty sure Swizz has gone live now. Projected. I don't really care about projected too much, but 1936 is
That's pretty good. You must have a lot of mid prices in your team because a lot of the rookies obviously aren't scored that high. So it'd be interesting, Velo, to see what your team looks like.
For sure. Ultimate ruck selections: Flynn R1, Reedy R2, Boyd R3.
Mate, the win comes along and you could end up having to trade all 3 rucks in a single week. So,
and that's season over.
Yeah, you're cool.
Okay, Murray, good to see you.
What's up, Murray?
Aussie Abroad, does Carl Warner get games for Freo each week? Because he's 185K in our backline.
I think at the moment, Freo's backline is pretty cemented. Let me just quickly check and see if he actually played. I don't think he played preseason.
He had 46% time on ground in the practice game.
Oh, you played practice game. Okay.
I did.
Yeah, I don't think so.
He's not best 22. No.
I don't think so.
Nope, not going to happen. Even Malira could be a cheapy gem. Yeah, if he can play soft tissue injuries all the time. For him, I had him in my team for a brief period of time because you start the risk, don't trade him in. But I think he got another soft tissue injury, which caused him to not to miss out on the practice game. So,
so that was it. Done.
Done.
Yeah. Not
Dunks went back to back 140s last year, and Neil outscored him in that run. Yeah, I mean Neil he's a goat. Don't get me wrong, but he's had an injury interrupted preseason. He's not fit and healthy, I think, at this point. So, and he's 50K more money, 50K more expensive.
It's a lot.
He said he's not going to do the heavy lifting. Now they've got Ashcroft in there. He's another year older now. There is room for regression. There is room for regression for Neil. Massive respect to him. Dude's a legend. Dude's a superstar. Brownlow medalist, 2-time Brownlow medalist, premiership player. Like, he's a legend. Don't get me wrong, but bang for buck, there is value to be had. Double dummy. Libba interests me for the doggies, man. Libba. Oh, Libba.
Bro, it is a no. You can pick him if you want to. The only problem is he's going to get a bump and then he's going to be out for half the season. So, yeah, it's like Whitfield with concussions, but Whitfield's a bit better. Libba, he's not on last legs in terms of fitness, but if he gets a concussion, mate, they're going to say, we're just going to let you take as long as you need, really.
Yep. I'm running 5 at the moment, double dummy.
Yeah, 5 or 6 for myself. It's just figuring out that last one.
Thoughts on Callahan? Would you take him over Chera? Not over Chera. No. I think Chera's a top 3 midfielder at Carlton. He's going to get those CBAs for sure. And no one, I don't think, is going to kick him out. They need him on the ball. He's one of their best kicks going inside forward 50. And he looked supreme in the preseason thus far. He has a history. He can go. He's gone 110 before, or just shy 108, but round up to 110. Callahan is going to be affected when Tom Green comes back in a couple of weeks' time. So I think in terms of longevity, when it comes to the scoring moving forward and the ceiling, I reckon Chera offers you better value than Finn.
Yeah, I think so.
Lads, I'm lost for defensive rookie who actually looks okay.
We are too, man. There's no one. There's nobody. There's like 0.
No, there is. There's Reed, Leak,
Patton.
That's true. At least those 3. At
least
we
those
don't
know about Patton. Patton could have a bad game this week and then just get dropped.
He just has to go 50s and 60s for us. We don't necessarily just be a warm body, play on the field, play on the bench. He's going to play accountable. What did he score? I think he scored something like that last in the practice game. I mean, where was he? Patton. Ben Patton. He played 81% TOG. That's really good. It means, that's one of those players that was really given a genuine run through, and he scored 61. So look, if he's playing every week, giving us 61s, then we take that. You know what I mean? Like, beggars can't be choosers. So I think Patton plays. I think Leak should hopefully play, and Reed should play. And then you have other more expensive ones, like potentially a Cleary. See how he goes. Is the replacement for Jones? Pryor could be one who plays and stays in the team. If he exists with Redmond, then Pryor is one. Or alternatively, you never know with Connor O'Sullivan. It looks like he's more likely to play in the 2s, but if he's named round 1, do you trust Chris Scott to name him again in round 2? I don't know. You get to the mid-pricer type options like Blight or Griffin Logue. There is Luke Trainer as well. Trainer, I think he looks really good.
If he ends up being best 22.
If he's best 22.
Only played like 2 quarters.
Yeah, he didn't play much, but when he was on the field, he did look really good. So hopefully he did enough to get a call up. but this was the case last year. I mean, last year we thought we had a lot more defensive rookies, but they ended up all disappearing. But Trainer in 40% time on ground scored a 39 with 48 fantasy. So that's not too bad.
I really hope Luke Cleary comes on and ends up cementing a spot. No, what's his face? Liam Jones for a while, I think, as well is going to save him. And they need someone down back. He just looks good. And yeah, hopefully he ends up doing what we need him to do for a few weeks.
89. That's massive. That's a great score.
Yeah,
Are we going to, you know what I mean? He ended up scoring the bloody pinhead Tim English. Hated him.
For me, it's more just the time on ground too. Like, it wasn't like someone who came on and then scored well when no one else was in the team. Like, he played effectively. What would you consider to be the full game? So yeah,
exactly. There you go. So there's potentially Cleary, Pryor, Patton, Leak, Reed. So there could be potentially five rookies there that we can play.
Did Aaron Francis get named today? He totally did, didn't he?
Did Aaron Francis get named?
Yeah. He scored well in the in the first game.
No.
No? Wow. Rip.
No Francis.
Huh.
Yeah, he's just pure depth. If you can't break into the team at Essendon, you're not breaking into the team at Sydney.
You never know. New coach, new game plan. Who knows? No, he's emergency.
Then again, there's Massimo D'Ambrosio saying hello in the back line.
There you go.
Neil and Brayshaw or Dunkley, Sarong and Dacos? How about Sarong and Brayshaw?
Yeah, that would work. Sarong and Brayshaw would be fine. I assume Dacos is a must-have, and we're picking two of the other ones.
I mean, you can afford Sarong and Brayshaw and have more money to upgrade in other places. I mean, look at Freo, Geelong, Sydney, West Coast, Dogs, depleted. Richmond, Melbourne, Adelaide. They have the best buy. It's not bad.
Their run to start the season is pretty good.
Uninterrupted preseason, prime of his career. Same thing with Dacos. Yes, I get it. But Dacos has a buy, whereas...
No, I think we are picking Dacos. Like, I think Dacos is the must-have, and then we're picking Neil and Brayshaw or Dunkley and Sarong. That's the way that I read that.
Oh, I thought he was asking for scenario 1 before the or. I'm reading it as Neil and Brayshaw as one combination, and Dunkley or Sarong and Dacos. Like, I'm seeing them as two scenarios here.
There's just so many good players, man. I want to run 6 mids just to start the season. I can't do it though, but I want to run 6 mids.
You can, but the problem is that the rookies you field are going to be the unideal ones. You could you will end up fielding more rookies either in your forward line or in your back line. The best rookies are without a doubt in the midfield. Like, you don't have, there's not too many defensive rookies that you want to be happy fielding. It could, I think, at most 2. At most. And even then, a lot of people are shying away from going down that path. Forward line, we've lost Hewitt. You got a line through him now. You could be fielding potentially Powell Pepper and Davidson, perhaps. And then your bench, who's going to be on your bench? Stone, and you don't want to field Kako. He's a small forward. He could score 90 one week, but he could also score you 30 the next. So you don't really know. So, the best rookies are the midfield rookies. So there has to be a limit to what you play, I think.
Yeah.
I reckon
I take the small pain and then just pick the best one.
Yeah. Look, I like Brayshaw Sarong. I like Brayshaw Sarong, personally. Neil could potentially go bananas, but he could potentially take a back seat to Will Ashcroft as well. at the same time. You just don't know. I mean, how did he do in the preseason? Let's have a look at Brisbane.
It's like
What did he do?
115.
Lockie Neal. And a 112, 110 fantasy, 90% CBAs, 30 disposals. I mean, looked really good. It was very, very good. Potentially Lockie Neal could do it, but it was a preseason game where I think they very comfortably won in the end. So, I mean, you could go with a Lockie Neal, but for me, the age, the injury interrupted preseason, the late start to the preseason is enough for me to be swayed away. Weddle as an option? No. I'll have Maltesing. Good to see Maltesing. I'll
What's
have
up,
to catch up
Maltesing?
and watch later on. Just can't get on time. Have you seen the weather forecast for Sunday's games? Up to 70 millimeters. Don't expect huge scores from anyone.
Well, that's something good to have a think about then too, because weather sucks at this point in time.
Hey, that could be good. It means Nick Dacos has a low score, which means we can get him for cheaper. Excellent.
There you go.
Just working on a new team with one rookie on field in the back line, none in the forward line, and 4 in the mids. I think that's how I'm going, Michael. Personally, that's my structure at the moment. Kai, g'day, Kai. Thanks so much for joining us on Monday.
What's
Looking
up,
forward
Kai?
to seeing it more often. The first of many. Knowing how cruel the sub rule is, Hanley will be the sub, even though I want it to be Adams.
Well, yeah, I mean, like when it's up to game points, I think they're going to make him the sub and potentially come on 3/4 or half time. I don't think Hanley played preseason. 1 second. Let me just check. Oh yeah, no, sorry, he did. He did. Yeah, I think he'll still be there. I think maybe he'll come on halftime.
69, very nice. But yeah, I think he's clear. That's the clear sub. I think Witt's the number 1 defender, but the early buy hurts. So we're looking to upgrade after the buys, especially if he has a down game score-wise. I mean, yeah, you can certainly try to fade him. I mean, he does have an early buy.
He sucks. He sucks when you try to fade him. I'm sorry, guys. Like, Whitfield is like not owning Max Gorn. Like, I'm not talking about last year, Joe, but Whitfield is like not owning Max Gorn. Like, Whitfield is just like, yeah, nah, you're stuffed. That's how Whitfield goes. And you just hate it. You never hate to hate plays on field, but you're just like, go get Whitfield. He's stinky. It's just, it's not fun. Don't anti-pod Whitfield.
Look, you can. You don't have to. I mean, given his price point, yeah, all you need is 1 or 2 bad scores from him, and he will drop in price a lot. Yes, I mean, he's 600k, so that's understandable. But I think he's more likely to drop a stinker score if he has a tough fixture for halfbacks. And looking at his fixtures for designated kickers, GWS, he doesn't really have any bad matchups to start the season with, so can be tough, but it's doable. It's achievable. You can afford to fade him, I think. I don't think he's must-have to start, but he will certainly be must-have to finish your team. Because last year, and again, it's stupid. Oh, here we go. No! I pressed refresh right after it popped up. It took too long to pop up, and now it's just like, oh.
We're stuck again. That's all right. We'll go through the list. Which midfield rookies are you guys selecting? Or maybe I'll go first while Joe's still figuring stuff out. Sardis, definitely. Nevitt, definitely. Sheldrick, definitely. I think those 3 are potential have to have on fields. Then I would be looking at one of Camporelli, Boxall, I think, as well. You could go like a Nod. You could go a Finn O'Sullivan. I'm probably missing one other as well. Yeah.
This is so
frustrating. That sounds about right, Joe. I haven't missed any.
Boxall could be all right. Hasty could be all right.
Yeah, I'm not too keen on Hasty, but the other guys, I think.
It looks like for some St Kilda supporters I know reckon Hasty did enough to get a gig, and it's most likely O'Connell who gets dropped. when
Okay.
Sinclair comes back. So if that's the case, I mean, Hasty, I actually like the look of Hasty coming off halfback. He seemed, really dynamic, and I really hope he gets a gig. I think he showed enough personally in that preseason game to warrant a selection. So if he's named, I reckon Hasty can be a very good moneymaker for us. I'm gonna wear these because I'm gonna start crying in a second, and I don't want you to start seeing me
20% of the
too.
salary cap is Rucks, yeah. And I think that's where Warner, the Warner news came out today that, hey, he might not actually get selected or end up at Freo just because they don't have salary cap. CWT, only 5 rookies on real. Sorry, 5 rookies on field. Don't know what happened there. With the Flynn R2 and Jackson F2. Hope is I can double my money on Flynn, which probably will happen. Probably not double, but maybe to 450K fairly easily. I'm keen as mustard on Jackson. I think he's going to go the next level. Yeah, potentially. I mean, you'll be one of the few people that have him and no one else really has him. So there you go. Joe's got his glasses on. This is Libba. Will get a Falcon and have to retire. You don't pick. Yep, 100%. But I'm not looking for someone who is not in my selections anyway. And I think it's different. It's different with Libba. It really is. I just don't think he's going to do what he's going to do. Joe, tell us about Hobbs.
Hobbs is fighting for a spot in the side, and I think we were giving him a run in the preseason. I just don't know how he actually breaks into the best 22 come season proper. I think, unfortunately, he just doesn't have any outside game. He really lacks class, I think, with his ball use, unfortunately. He does a lot right in and under. He was probably the best contested ball player in his draft class, but he slid quite a bit because outside of that, he just doesn't have really much of an outside game. And I think that's part of the reason why he struggled to break into the side. I know some people are saying that, with Durham playing more forward gives him an opportunity, but he's not getting his opportunity ahead of Elijah Sardis. So I think with Durham moving more forward, it opens up that spot for Sardis. And you could say potentially that Arish being out of the side could open it up for Hobbs. And that might be right. But for me, I'm not entirely sure if Hobbs really stays in the side. I hope he does, but I think there's just too many question marks over Hobbs to warrant picking him at that price point. And this is what I was trying to show with freaking Whitfield, bro. Like 100 up, post buy in the home and away season, 12 games, 121.8. Like that's uber premium midfield statistics right there. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's tough. It sucks.
If you're running 5 primos in the back line, how many 3 to 600K players? I guess we're counting, if we are doing 5 primos in the back line, we're counting a Roberts, we're counting, a Short and a Perryman as guys that we're not going to trade, hence being keepers, hence being primos. I think that's kind of where it goes. You're not picking, Sheasel, Wardlaw. You're not picking Sheasel, Zorko, Whitfield, Clark, and then like 2 others. It's just not going to happen, like money-wise. How many others? I mean, we've got 3 or 4 in the forward line, and then another 5 primos in the midfield. Really, Joe? There's a lot of value.
I'll do a team update video tonight. I'll do a team update video tonight and upload it for you guys to see.
O'Connell, yeah, Adams, potentially. I don't know about Adams. I think he fell off too hard during the Melbourne game. Neil looked great in the practice match. Last year Zorko was too old. Libba can also smash it. Chera is just, potentially. I don't know. Something about Libba just says no. That's all I'm saying. We'll go back to Libba, but something about Libba just doesn't work. 2 mids, 2 rucks, and 1 forward, but also have 4 mid-price forwards. I guess like in the same vein of Roberts, Peatling, Short. we're saying that McRae is like a keeper, is a primo forward because you know he's going to score
Yes.
well. Same with Daniel too. Like you know he's going to score well. So yeah, it's not that much of a problem. Josh Sinjo.
Nah, not for me. He's not the man back there. So I know some people were hoping he could be the man, but he's not the man.
Yeah, definitely not for me too. As a Cats fan, don't touch Sully. He'll get dropped if he plays. Maybe sees 7 games potentially. I'm more than happy to wait until they actually bring him in full time and say, cool, no worries from there. Elijah Hewitt missing round 1 as Joe's got on the screen.
Yep. So this one is for you. Hold your ghost about Hewitt being injured. So yeah, he's got a setback there, as you can see. The Rhino, the footy Rhino, he's the most reliable journo out west. So young defender at North called Miller Bergman, worth putting on your watch list. What do you reckon?
No, I don't think so. That's a no.
Thoughts on Dacos Rosie or Brayshaw Rowell? Dacos Rosie. Out of those two, Dacos Rosie.
Yeah.
But you could very much do Brayshaw Rosie and have more money.
You could do that too, and have a lot more money. Have an extra 100K.
Exactly, and you could put that onto Bo Allen, who scored negative 13, negative 12, and gets maybe a mid-pricer potentially in the back line. Look, if he plays, if he gets named, then to be honest, I'm not against starting him. There's no way he can possibly replicate that bad of a game. I think for sure, if he's going to be named despite playing the way that he did, it means he's got rock solid job security. You know what I mean? And that could be massive with DPP playing for that team without an early buy. I'm not all out on Bo Allen if he keeps his spot in the team, personally.
For me, with Bo Allen, I figure we're going to have a few rookie corrections anyway. I'm going to go with the ones that I really like at the start of round 1. And then if by round 3 I've got to trade Bo Allen, well, then I've got to trade Bo Allen. But there's no way I'm going to start him on the preseason form that we've seen so far. Like maybe if West Coast had a round 0 game and you could see something else and he came out and scored 150 or something, okay. But yeah, it's a bit rough otherwise, I think.
Fair enough. Neil Fixture puts him ahead of Pie Cost for mine. Yep, fair enough. Corey Warner could be a real. Corey Warner could be a rookie to grab.
Potentially. I think there was something about like Goulden or someone else being injured that kind of cemented a spot for Warner. So I'm not sure about him in the team, but could end up working out okay. Potentially.
Dacos, Brayshaw, Dunkley, Petrarca, and Dawson with Oliver going thin down back. So you're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 deep.
Yeah, I don't mind it. I don't mind it, Mark. You just have to make sure that you probably lock in a Sheasel if you're lucky, and then get enough of those value 400K defenders, and maybe you go a Blight or something, and then you can grab Oliver, and it doesn't hurt like as much.
I don't know how you're going to do that by going 6 deep in the midfield.
Play the money, move the money.
You're going to have to field more rookies either in the back line or in the forward line. If you're fielding rookies in the forward line, you could be playing like maybe 2 or 3 rookies in the forward line. You could end up having Pal Pepper at F4. You know,
I don't mind him at F5, but I think F4's a bit.
Yeah, but F4 becomes too light in the forward line for mine.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have to. Yeah, we'll see, Mark. We'll see. Fingers crossed. Only scored 60 also in the preseason game. Fair enough. Nick Martin, top 6 forward this year, potentially, if he gets that forward DPP.
Yeah, that would be good.
But he'll be, I don't know.
And Petrarca too. Petrarca plays a lot of mid time. Could be.
Petrarca won't get forward status. Petrarca got a lot of CBAs. That's part of the reason why Petrarca's really intriguing me, and I really am warming up to starting Petrarca, because if they really were looking to play him more as a forward, they wouldn't have given him 57% CBAs. He actually got more CBAs than Oliver did. So that's really interesting for me. So track I'm not sure if Track gets the forward status personally. So could be really interesting. And this question, Corey, Dawson or Track, is the one that has been doing my head in the last few days because there's only so many I can fit. And I probably had one of, because I'm running Rosie, just as a spoiler warning after the Butters incident, after the Butters news. If Rosie wasn't in the side, you know what I mean, then potentially. But I think Rosie could go 110s without
Hmm.
Butters in there.
Oh,
So
more.
or
I'm
more.
thinking like 115. At 520k, you need Rosie in there. Like the way that the team's going, he took on a lot more towards the year. And I think there's a thing, Joe. Can you pull him up pre-injury, Rosie? I know that it's going to mess around with your stuff too much, but if you can pull him up pre-injury, there was something like he was going 115, 120 before he got injured last year, and then fell off a little bit afterwards. But they're obviously not planning to have Butters in there for a while, and Boak and Wines and stuff have moved out of that midfield. So it's him and Horn Francis in there, man.
Exactly. Him and Horn Francis in there. So, but if I had to choose one of Dawson or Track, I'd probably go Dawson only because he didn't have an injury interrupted preseason, whereas Track did.
And maybe Petrarca and Oliver take some points off each other.
Potentially. So if we go, so we've got Rosie, so pre-injury.
Yeah.
So he had a stint here. Oh wait, no, wait. So this is pre-injury. So he has what?
Like
how many injuries did he have?
Like a couple.
What the hell? I don't even remember. So at the start, he's seen at the start of the season, pre-injury, he had 108 average.
Yeah. Without that 65 game, it was obviously a lot higher.
Well, yeah, but you can't just pick and choose which.
Yeah, you just take all the bad games out, and then you say, "Hey, look, he had 300 average."
Yeah, but the thing is, he doesn't have Butters now, who's going to be the main guy. So there's going to be there's no Boak and stuff. So it's gonna be him and Horn Francis carrying the load, and he looked unreal in the preseason game. He just was taking the P155 out of St Kilda. He's got the speed, and he had the 76% CBAs. So it was him, Horn Francis, Wines, Drew. Those are the four. And they're really, still there was a Rucking. Boak only had the 20%. So, yeah. If you had to pick one or the other, I'd probably go Dawson.
Okay.
Scroll back up a little bit. Oh, yes, after the buy for Martin. Okay.
No, sorry.
His Baz a must-have or a potential trap. Geelong will probably protect him, and we haven't had a good look at him yet. Now that there's no round zero for Geelong, it's been doing my head in personally. But and then I remember that we looked at his numbers in the past. And there was a reason why we were considering starting him. It's because now it is a different team. He is playing for the Cats, and the midfielders at the Cats, they play a different system, and he could be playing on a wing a bit more. But when he got over 40% CBAs, he scored really well at the Bulldogs. Does he go over 40% CBAs for Geelong? I think he does. Plus, he's very widely owned. And here we are. Finally, it takes a long time for it to load. So if we're looking at games where he had over 40% CBAs, because you can't see him having less than 40% CBAs moving to the Cats, right? So we're going over 40%. Every single game where he had over 40%. Strictly 40% or more. We're going way back now. So this is his career. This is what sort of player he is over the course of his career. He's had 48 games in his career where he's had at least 40% centre bounce attendances. He's averaged 98. Okay. 48 games over a number of seasons is not a small sample size. This is his career average with 40% CBAs, 98. I think you'll get more than 40% CBAs playing for Geelong. And if he goes 98 for us, that's a top 6 forward right there. That's a top 6 keeper that you're keeping for the whole season, under 400k. Plus, he's very widely owned. And now he doesn't have the early buy anymore. So I think it's worth starting him. I've tossed and turned. I really don't want to start him. But if I just simply take an unemotional approach to it and just look at his career numbers, I think it's worth starting him. Because you're saving a trade. You're getting decent scores out of him. He's not going to give you 40s and 50s. He's going to give you more than that. So if it doesn't work, then there are other options that you can turn to. You could potentially drop him to someone who I've had a look at a little bit because he had an unreal game in the preseason. If he doesn't work, you could potentially look at one Jeremy Finlayson as a downgrade target, because the interesting thing about Finlayson playing in the back line is that BZT is out till round 10. And Asava Radagalia is playing more forward even when he returns. So Jeremy Finlayson could keep his spot in the back line. It is very, very risky. It is. But I'm just sort of saying that there are other avenues if the Bailey Smith option doesn't work. If it does work and you don't have him and you're fielding a rookie in his place, you're going to have to find, $250,000 to get up to him. I'm not starting Finlayson. I'm just simply saying that there is another avenue that you could go to if the pick doesn't work. I'm not starting Jeremy Finlayson. I literally said it's very, very risky. But there is someone that you could go to if it doesn't work. If you don't have him and the pick does work, then that is very unfortunate for you. I'm not actually starting Jeremy Finlayson. I appreciate the concern, though. Thank you, Velo. Much love. Much love. You're muted, bro. What are you doing? You're still muted.
I am muted. I'm muted. Joe says I'm muted. I do not advocate for the Finlayson. It is not happening in my team. Maybe if he ends up super, super cheap, or I'm forced to bring him in. But no, I'm not a Finlayson.
Logan Evans, then.
Yeah, I don't mind Logan Evans. I know what I got last year from him. Now, the problem with St Kilda is they bomb the ball into the bloody Port Adelaide's forward line too much, because all they do is they don't run the ball through anymore. They just kick it to King, and even when King's not playing, they still do the same thing. I think Evans is better. He's taking some of the kickouts as well. But, yeah, it's just a different situation, I think.
Oh, of course. Charles, who would you rate as the top 4 rookies?
If I go first, I would say Davidson first. Sheldrick looks good. Nevitt looks good. That's just off preseason form. And I assume we can count Sardis as a 190 play, even though he's not a rookie. But yeah, I would say those.
Agreed. Jackson, love your profile picture. That's so Jackson. Would you go Chera or an extra premium defender to only have one defender rookie on the field?
The mindset that you have to have with this Jackson is that, hey, the rookie midfielder that I have is going to end up scoring more than the rookie defender that I have. So if I can get another premium, it's okay in the back line, because your rookie midfielder is always going to end up scoring more. If it means that you pick Chera and you go down to like 4, so you don't pick Chera and now you go to 4 midfield rookies, okay, it starts to hurt a little bit, because you're most likely spending 3 trades on each to get to a good primo. At that point, it hurts a little bit more. But If you're fine, throw in the extra midfield rookie. Get a better defender. They're appropriately priced for what you're getting, and your defender rookie is always going to score worse because they're just shit. There's no good defender rookies this year. They're all crap. That's why people are saying go down to like 5 primos or 6 primos. Whatever it is, because they're shocking.
Yeah, I agree. If you have to pick one or the other, having a stronger back line is better. Starting an extra premium in the back line, having the rookies off the field in the back line, I think is definitely preferable. Mark, you didn't have to do it, Mark.
Thanks, Mark. Thank you very much, mate.
Shazel, Clark, Pryor, Reed, Patton, Trainer at D6.
That's his
and
back line.
Jepson. Oh,
Mark,
boy.
do not. Do not. Don't do it. Just don't. Don't, Mark. Save yourself the heartache, man. Telling you now, save yourself the heartache.
That is not just thin, bro. That is bold. Like, you got thin hair and then you've just got straight up bold. Like, that is very thin, bro. I don't know. If
you might not even have after 2 weeks, you might not even have a full backline playing. Like, that's how dirty that is.
Like, Trainer might not play, and Jepson also might not play. So
Patton might get dropped after a week. Joel Jepson's not playing at all, so there's one gone.
Yes. Very risky.
Trainer doesn't play. Leak doesn't play. Yeah, no.
Yep.
That's a no. Risky. That's a no.
Very risky, personally. Have you seen? When are we rating teams?
Let's go Monday. Monday after this weekend's games, guys. Keep an eye out. Monday after this weekend's games, we're going to do our Facebook thing again, and then you guys can post your teams up on that. There you go. So then you'll have you're heading into round 1 before teams are named team review coming out next Wednesday. Done.
Very nice. There you go. Wonderful. Have you seen Lowe getting some hype for a starting pick? Can he make 150k? I'm not sure.
We're talking about Big Griffin. He's done it before. He's done it before. It's just he's just coming off major injuries. That's all it is. He'll definitely have the role. He's just a little bit expensive. Like, he's not in the 100k range. He's it starts with a 2 at the end. 2 at the start, so it hurts a little bit. But yeah, he'll be okay. It'll be him. It'll be Aiden Core. It'll be him, and it will be Condon down back. So yeah.
The thing with him is that that the job security is there. He's bench 22, won't be subbed, won't be used as sub. That you're paying up for the security of that. He's not in my team at the moment, though. Not for me, personally. We'll just rock it through. No chance gets defensive forward DPP. Yeah, I agreed, Velo. I have Horn Francis, Daniel McRae, Baz, Sanders, Garcia, with Gakko and Sam on bench. Do you think that's too heavy with 4 premiums in the mids and backs with Cherry and TDK and some of the best rooks? So you reckon 2 defensive rookies? If those 2 defensive rookies are Reed and Pryor, maybe, and then your bench is Leak and Patton, then yeah, that could work for sure. And then in the forward line, in the midfield, you're rocking with 4 premiums, which means you got 4 midfield rookies. Yeah, I think 4 midfield rookies is fine. Yeah, I reckon that's a very, very solid, very nice structure, in my opinion, Aussie Abroad.
Yeah, you just hate forward rookies. That's all it is. But it's fine. No dramas there.
Best disposal efficiency is seriously bad. Agreed.
Yeah. And he didn't look that good either in the one game that he played at Geelong. Like, he did enough, but it wasn't like God tier. You must pick me.
Yep. All right, guys. I'm picking Scott Father over Finlayson. Fair enough. It's Kako No-Go. I heard you talking down on him earlier. Oh, he's going to play every week. He will not be the sub, and he will not be subbed off. you're certainly paying up for premium job security for sure. And he will have games where he scores well if he's kicking multiple goals, which he certainly can. But of course, when you're picking a player who is reliant a bit on goals, if they don't score those goals, then they're not going to score very well. So you could potentially. I'm just simply saying that whilst he's a very fine selection to start off with, you'd
Mm.
probably prefer maybe having someone cheaper, like having Lee Stone and Davidson, for example, on your bench. Don't really like having expensive players on the bench because if you're having expensive players on the bench, it means your money is going towards not points, but purely just cash generation. And cheaper players can also have equivalent, if not better, cash generation because they're cheaper. It means they don't have to perform as well to make their dollars.
Yeah,
I'm
and
very
that's why
much
Father likes him.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm a big fan of having my money be on the field and not so much on the bench. So nothing wrong with Kako as a selection. I think if you want to pay up for the job security, then you certainly can. But I
Yeah,
personally prefer having my dollars be on the field.
yeah. He is fun to watch though. That's the only
He
thing.
is,
Like
he
if
is
you
very
scream out
fun.
"Oh!" every time he kicks a goal, it's good for you in Super Coach.
I dare you to start from lesson to piss Big J off. No, I'm good, thanks.
No.
Is
I
Sinclair
want
still
Joe to
injured if they're
win
not
this
inside
year.
him? I
I need
know.
Joe to do well.
Yes, I know. Me too. No, I think Sinclair's in line for round one, Charles. I don't think there's been any setbacks, which is good.
Yeah.
What's our thoughts on Fraser? No Bailey Dale means that you can't get a full picture. I think his scoring will be significantly affected with Dale in the side.
Yeah, I don't mind him. Obviously, as Joe's saying, got the big kickouts. I think they can run him and Dale, and then it ends up being a bit of a 50-50 going in, like sharing the ball, but it's him, Bramble, and Dale in the back line. So, like, another mouth to feed a little bit there. You can pick him if you want. He'll probably get to 450k, but that's probably about it. So if you just want a loop, you don't care, then just do that.
I agree. I agree with Hazard's answer to you, Pete. No need for a donut loop. Jonas, good to see you, mate.
What's up, Jonas?
You managed to come in just as we're about to wrap things up. SDK is a good option for D5 with best 18 to start the year. Just be prepared for the big scores and a couple of dud scores that won't count. Make 100k, then move for a proper primo. He might, but I don't think he will. If you look at the Rucks, because he's playing Ruck, pretty sure he has a pretty bad start to the season. If I go to Geelong, Brisbane, which he'll play in round three. So he'll have Freo at first.
Which you'll do well against.
We'll do well. The Saints, then he'll have Big O, then Gorn, then Rob, who's pretty restrictive. He's going to have 3 weeks in a row of tough matchups. Might have 2 okay ones, but he's not the best ruck. I'm not very bullish on SDK personally. I think he's going to have some tough matchups in round 2, which is best 18, sure. And round 1, sorry, that's GWS, sorry. Round 2, round 3 is best 18. True. Round 4 is also best 18. Interesting. So his tough games are during bye rounds. Interesting pickup, Jonas. Very interesting. I'll have to consider that again. I can see Logue averaging 65, 70. Fair enough, which is not good enough for that price. Finn Callahan is a good midfielder who will perform well without Tom Green.
Yeah. Like he'll be okay. You'll get a price increase, you'll get a scoring increase, but I don't think it might not be as much as what you want.
Exactly. Thoughts on Noah Anderson over Brayshaw or Sarong? Not for me, no.
Not for me either. I don't want the buy.
And he plays one less game if our game doesn't count.
And no Took Miller as well.
Yeah. Thoughts on Levi's flex? Yes, I like it.
No dramas.
On the official injury list, Sinclair isn't listed. Good. Very good. We're all battling for second as the members team has already won it. It has already won it.
There you go, Velo.
This is the team as it currently stands. Ladies and gentlemen, for the 68 people watching, if you want to be part of building the team and being part of the trading in and out during the course of the season, having the extra members stream on the Tuesday night, you will have to be a member to have your say, but this is currently what it looks like going into the round 0. It's looking not too bad. We've got 2 rookies, 3, 5. Half-Pepper's not a rookie. They've got 6 rookies on field. It's looking pretty good. This is the community team. If you want to... Oh my God, that's my team. If you want to have a part, if you want to have a say on what happens to this team and build it with us, then of course you have to be a member. But this is what it's looking like, guys. And it's looking pretty good. It's looking pretty good.
Yeah, it's not too bad. Just waiting now for preseason, fix up the rookies, all that kind of jazz.
Anytime, Craze Fit. Thanks for joining us. Hopefully, we made your fast a little bit more bearable. Might be crazy, but I already have Finn Layson because I ran out of cash. Yeah, all right. Yeah, good for you, mate. You're not winning the money.
No worries.
I can only upgrade him up to Baz if I sacrifice Flynn, Rosie, or Sheasel.
Well, I'm not keen on Baz either, so you might want to go down and just fix up the rest of your team. See if the extra money does okay.
STK will get his points around the ground, not in the headouts. True. Yeah, he sucks in the rucks. Baz sub-risk in early runs? I don't think so.
No.
I think he'll be all right. Any word on Mr. Glass? Yeah, no, he's injured. He's injured, Jonas. He's made of glass. All right. With that, I think we'll call it a night. Definitely a lot longer than what I anticipated this was going to be. I was supposed to be on with Swizz. I don't know if he's still going on. Apologies, Swizz, very much. But we had a very good one. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Hit the like if you haven't already. Subscribe if you're new. Notification bell. This is a regular fixture. Every Thursday night at 5:30, we have the drive home. Thankfully, we're both home. Nice, Swizz is still on. All right, I might manage to sneak on for a little bit with Swizz before he turns it off. So thank you guys so much for joining. We look forward to seeing you in the next one.
Guys, we've got the review crew on Mondays. Should be good. We're going to talk about some of the preseason games, what we've learned a little bit. Members stream on Tuesday. Keep an eye out on Monday as well for the link, I guess, to review my team like we did last time. We'll have a few team reviews coming out. We'll have a few more things. Next week is going to be balling. Get as much content as we can before round 1. Crazy to think that football will be starting this time next week, Joe.
Yes. Very crazy. But it won't even be this time next week. It's starting tomorrow.
No, but like at Supercoach, sorry. So you know what I mean.
Yeah, Supercoach. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Supercoach. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah. Finally, bloody hell, all of this suspense and research can finally be over, and we can finally start for real and watch all of our hopes and dreams crumble before our very eyes. Because
as Finn Layson goes 180.
Yes, exactly. because the player that I wanted to start that didn't end up starting ended up going bananas. So it's classic. But with that, guys, thank you so much for watching. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the footy, and we'll see you all on Monday.
It's going to be fun, guys. Have a good weekend. Stay safe. And you guys in Brisbane, you guys in Queensland, Northern New South Wales, stay safe as well.
Thoughts and prayers. See you guys.